Good evening and welcome to the January 21st, 2020 business meeting of the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. Statement of compliance, please.
Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by consent agenda resolution number 2020-09, adopted January 1st, 2020, through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends issue of January 12th, 2020, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted on the bulletin board at the Borough Hall on January 6th, 2020, the Suburban Trends and the Bergen Record.
Please silence all electronic devices during the meeting. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Here.
Council members Bolton?
Here.
Peretti?
Here.
Matteo?
Here.
McCracken?
Here.
O'Keefe?
Here.
Also present, Borough Manager, Director, Department of Public Works, Scott Heck, Municipal Clerk, Nicole Langemeyer, and Borough Attorney, Richard J. Klimek. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a number of proclamations and presentations. The first is Proclamation of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas the United States has designated the third Monday of January as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and whereas we in Ringwood, New Jersey, wish to honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as the preeminent civil rights leader of our time, and whereas to achieve the traditional American goals of personal freedom and equal rights for all, Dr. King preached to all, the poor and discriminated against, as well as the privileged, his gospel of nonviolence and peaceful protest. And whereas Dr. King was an eloquent speaker whose I Have a Dream speech will forever inspire the downtrodden and victims of unfair discrimination to imagine a better world and to work for justice and equality for all. And whereas Dr. King pursued his dream tirelessly and courageously until his untimely death by an assassin bullet at the age of 39. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Linda Schaefer, on behalf of the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood, do hereby proclaim January 20th, 2020, Martin Luther King Jr. Day in our community as a tribute to a truly great leader, and urge all our residents to join me in rededicating ourselves to the principles of justice and equality for all. And now we have some recognition, some awards. The Ringwood Rattlers Football Varsity Division 2019 Super Bowl champions. Okay, first I'd like to congratulate the Ringwood Rattlers varsity football team on becoming the 2019 Morris County Youth Football League Super Bowl champions. They beat Hanover 14-0, and they had an undefeated season with a perfect 10-0 record. Kudos to you all. You have made Ringwood proud of all your hard work and dedication. And on a personal note, I know many of you from going through Erskine schools, so it's a privilege and an honor for me to do this tonight and hand you certificates. Will the coaches please come forward as I call your name? Jim Montesano. Scott Nicholson. Mike Cunningham. Sean Chapman.
Thanks for getting dressed up.
Thank you.
And Ryan Walt. I personally want to thank the coaches for all their hard work, because it takes a lot of time from your families, and it's well worth the dedication that you won this. Congratulations to you all. And now we're going to hand out the certificates to the undefeated winners of the championship. Do you want to mention your name? Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I can't believe they got taller than you so fast. Josh Abramson. Caroline Beagle. Ben Bowen. Ben Wiggles Carey. Cameron Crazy Legs Chapman. Joey Cunningham. Anthony DiGilio. Troy Gallo, I didn't see him. Andrew Gansey. Vinny Giuliano. Ryan Langermeyer. Nice shorts. Neo Lee.
Thank you.
George Lewis. Kenny Manning. Connor McCracken. Danny Montesano. Jimmy Montesano. Mason Morgan. Matthew Nicholson. Jeremy O. Hernandez. Noah Pagan. Jalen Rodriguez. Colin Sabrick. Michael Sabrick. Brennan Stocker. Cooper Struble. Sean Walker. Owen Westcott. And CJ Wong couldn't be here tonight.
Now, I don't know how we're going to do this, but if the council stand at their seats and scrunch in the back, and we'll have all the winners of this great feat and the champions and the coaches stand up here, and we'll have some pictures. We'll try it, see how it works. I'm going to stand here because I'm short.
Yeah, you should take that chair. Just go out. Give me the orange foam finger. That right? That's what we need.
We can like hold the bat.
Right now, the only thing we look like we're doing is photobombing.
Yeah, right. Yo, eyes front.
These adults who are not coaches.
Yeah, really.
Wow, they should be playing basketball now. Every one of them should be playing basketball. It's not a short team. Then you go okay in there?
Okay, the next order of business is a recognition award. Would the Deputy Mayor, Sean Noonan, please come forward? Sean, it's been a long time that we've known each other and worked together. And I want to thank you for your 8 years of dedication on the council, your time as deputy mayor, and also time spent on the planning board. You have been instrumental in making Ringwood a great place to live and raise a family. And we can't thank you enough for all your hard work and time, and I'm sure that you will continue to be involved with many things in Ringwood.
Thank you very much.
And this is presented to Sean T. Noonan in appreciation and recognition of your dedicated and loyal service to the Borough of Ringwood as Councilman 2012 to 2018 and Deputy Mayor 2019. With our heartfelt thanks and best wishes for your continued success by the Ringwood Borough Council on this 21st day of January 2020. Thank you and congratulations.
I just want to thank everyone here. It was humbling to be chosen to represent the people of Ringwood, to do the work here, and it was a privilege to serve with everybody on this dais, and especially Walter Davison, Jim Martocci, and some of the other people. Appreciate everybody. Thank you very much.
Next, Mayor, past Mayor Jim Martocci, would you come up with your family? Jim, your 8 years on the council is just one of the many jobs you have taken on. You have been Ringwood's deputy mayor and mayor, besides being for many years the president of Skyline Lakes Association and also a Boy Scout leader. Your dedication to this community has not gone unnoticed, and we thank you for your commitment to Ringwood. And I'll miss all the phone calls that we would exchange back and forth when we were on council together. But please stay in touch and please stay involved. Thank you. And this is presented to Jim Martocci in appreciation and recognition of your dedication and loyal service to the Borough of Ringwood as Councilman 2012 to 2015, Deputy Mayor 2016, 17, and 18, and Mayor 2019. With our heartfelt thanks and best wishes for your continued success by the Ringwood Borough Council on this 21st day of January 2020. Congratulations.
I just want to thank everybody. Is this working?
No more than 3 minutes, Jim.
Okay. And it was a privilege being on the council and working with fellow council members. And I wish the best for the new council, and thank you very much.
Next, Walt Davison, would you please come forward? I think I'll just ask Gail. If I have your whole family up here, there won't be room. Walter, where do I start? Walter, thank you for your 40 years of service. You have dedicated 40 years of your life to something that you believed in and unselfishly took time away from your family and friends. You have been an inspiration and a mentor to many, and all who have had the pleasure of your company will feel the void. Continue to be there for us, because we certainly need your voice on many levels when making decisions. You have helped make our beautiful town of Ringwood what it is today. We all love you and look up to you with profound admiration. Thank you on many levels for what you have achieved in that 40-year span. We love you dearly and we're going to miss you, but please stay in touch. And we would like to present this clock for 40 years of outstanding service presented to Walter J. Davison. Thank you.
Thank you all. It's been a great experience working with these people on the council. It's a wonderful town. It's a great community. Things are going very well. And I'm very happy to have my former employer here, Kristen Corrado, the county clerk, and I was her deputy. But she's the best county clerk Passaic County has ever had. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's a great night, and we'll be fine. Thank you. Thank you all.
I would like to thank all the residents of Ringwood for always voting for Walter. It's been an honor to be married to him. And it's been a beautiful experience. All the people that we've met through the years, they've become family for us. My oldest, Robin, was 14. My son, Scott, was 12. My son, Keith, was 10. Kerry was 9, and Cindy was 6. So they have lived a life of politics, and they are wonderful people because of their dad. And I want to thank everybody in Ringwood. And he always was the highest vote getter, like Linda. And I just want to thank everybody in Ringwood for loving and supporting him. He's done a great job. And he's always been for all of Ringwood, not just, where you live or whatever. And thank you, everybody on the council, for accepting and loving us. It's not easy, to love all of us.
Okay, I think Senator Corrado would like to say a few words. And Assemblyman Orth.
Thank you. So I did have the privilege of having Walter as my deputy, and I could not have asked for a better partner or a better friend. I was able to do what I did because I had him by my side, and everything that we accomplished together. And he was more than just my coworker. He was more than just my deputy. He was the person I would call every day. He's like a second father to me. When I was having a bad day or I was nervous about doing something, I would pick up the phone and call Walt. He would walk me through it. He was always a pleasure to work with. He was known throughout the county for being just the nicest man. Everybody loved Walt. Everybody loved working with him. And he made all of us better at what we did because we got to spend time with him.
Mayor, I'm going to preface this by saying I have to be completely honest. I dropped the ball. Senator Corrado, she's like, dots her I's, crosses her T's. She had everything set up. We have resolutions for Jim and for Sean and everybody who's leaving the council. So we'll have those and we'll bring them to the next meeting. But, I just want to personally thank you. When I came into the district as the assemblyman, you were one of the first people that sat down with me, and what the senator said is so true. It just rang in my heart, and kind of just gave me the lay of the land, with a big smile on your face. And you were one of the first guys. You and the deputy mayor John Spear were out letting us know what was going on here when you guys came into the district. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And you've taught me a lot of things that I use in my everyday life, but that I use in Trenton. And I like to think that Senator Corrado and I are among the representatives down there that are known for our congeniality and our ability to work across the aisle, because we have certain attributes that we've learned from you. And so I thank you very much for that. And we don't expect you to go off into the sunset here. We're looking to give you a little time with Gail, but then Gail, we're going to take him back again for some other things, So I thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your ceremony this evening.
Would Mr. Heck, Borough Manager, please come up? You wanted to say a few words.
I'll wait until Senator is done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we just want to present this resolution from the 39th and the 40th Legislative District, signed by the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker, acknowledging Walt's incredible 40 years of service to both Ringwood and the county. And I would be remiss if we didn't point out that when I left office, Walt stepped in and was the county clerk and did a fabulous job. And so we can never thank you enough for what you did. And we just want to recognize you. I promise I won't read all of it, so I will just acknowledge that the success and strength of New Jersey, the vitality of its communities, and the prosperity of our American society depend in great measure upon dynamic and selfless individuals, as exemplified by Walt Davison, whose time and energies are devoted to improving the effectiveness in their communities and the quality of life for their neighbors. It is altogether fitting for this legislature to pause in its deliberations to acknowledge Walter Davison and to commend him as a man of outstanding character and boundless determination. Congratulations on an amazing career.
Mr. Heck.
Mayor, I promised that I would be brief, and it's hard because I've known Walter a long time. There's not a lot of things that I can add to what you heard about Walter today, because Walter is an incredible man. I worked with Walter 27 of the 40 years that he's represented the residents of Ringwood, but I've known him forever. I grew up in Ringwood, and Walter is a name in Ringwood that everybody knew. His tenure is a testament to his kindness and his compassion to the residents. Walter was that guy that was always there. No matter what the problem was, he was there. He always found a way to build a consensus and to do what was best for the community. For those who have moved to Ringwood recently, Ringwood's beauty and character and charm is largely because people like Walt Davison had the steady hand on the rudder, which helped create the environment that everybody wants to live and work in today. The 40 years that he served here is what kind of carved out what Ringwood is as of today. He's taught me a lot. He's mentored me through the years. And while he's no longer going to be seated on this council, I know that I'll still be receiving phone calls from him. And I'll reach out to him often for his advice as well, because usually he has some profound advice. And I thank you for all you've done for us, and I thank you for what you've done for me. Mayor, it's always a pleasure.
Once again, Walter, I'd like to thank you for your 40 years of service, and please stay in touch.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, next, Mr. Heck, can you do the appointments to the,
Sure, Mayor. Do you want to take a 5-minute break in case?
yes, we'll take a 5-minute break.
It's not really great for you.
Oh, okay.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Right?
Okay, we're back on the air. Mr. Heck, will you please introduce the new officers
Absolutely. Chief,
with Chief Walker? Probably have to put the mic up.
one of the privileges that I have as the manager is to appoint the new officers off of the police officers list. And we have two new officers that are with us today. Chief, I'm going to ask Danielle Felton to come forward. Chief, maybe you can give them a little bit of a background of what Danielle's done.
Yes, just first of all, for the education of the public, when we hire a police officer, it's not like you hire somebody for the grocery store or something. There is a lot of training involved. The two officers appointed tonight will be replacing two potential retirees, or two retirees during this year. Danielle will be attending the Bergen County Police Academy, which she won't graduate until June. So that's how much training that they have to require. She's a graduate of Lakeland Regional High School. She has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from John Jay College. She's been a member of the Skyline Lake Fire Department since 2012. Served as an intern for the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office and the New Jersey State Police. And we got her from North Caldwell, where she was a 911 dispatcher. So we are very happy and proud to have her join the ranks. As soon as she graduates, she will be officially sworn in as an officer. And we congratulate you. Thank you.
Both of our new officers work for the Borough of Ringwood as dispatchers, also served in volunteer departments throughout many, many years. The next officer, who is already an officer, and Chief will go through that, is Brett Sal.
Officer Sally is a lifelong Ringwood resident. He's a graduate again of Lakeland Regional High School. We put out a good product down at Lakeland. I can attest to that. He's got an associate degree from Bergen County Community College, a 6-year veteran of the Ringwood Volunteer Ambulance Corps. He served as a dispatcher in Ringwood and Pompton Lakes, and we happened to be lucky enough to get him from the Passaic County Sheriff's Department. Officer Sally does not have to go to the academy because he's already academy trained. However, after he was appointed, he has an 8-week field training officer obligation. So he has to ride with another officer and be mentored for 8 weeks before he's allowed to be on his own. But we welcome him. He's one of the best. So good success in your career, and I'm glad to have you.
Nicole, can you come up and swear in our new officer?
Repeat after me. This is your oath of allegiance. I, Brett Sally,
I, Brett Sally,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of police officer
perform all the duties of police officer
for the Borough of Ringwood
for the Borough of Ringwood
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
and
and to the governments established
to the governments
in the
established
United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Brett and Danielle will be joining a great group of officers that we have here in the Borough of Ringwood, so certainly welcome aboard.
We're going to take another brief, short recess, very short.
That's awesome. So cool. You do, yeah. I do not know how to.
Order of business is approval of minutes.
Oh, we're not quite ready. Oh, Tracy, ready? Okay. You might want to repeat that.
Okay, we're back in session, and the next order of business is the approval of the minutes.
On the,
Go ahead. The business meeting of December 17th, there's only 3 eligible to vote. Please note there were changes made to pages 19 and 20. And we would need a motion and a second. And
I'll move the minutes as amended.
Before we proceed, I just want to speak about the minutes. I had requested those amendments, and I thank Nicole for making them. I know it was kind of a rush over the weekend. There was one amendment that I had recommended that didn't make the minutes, so I just want to ask our attorney a question regarding that. The statement that was said by our manager was that we have to make sure we are not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms because those are tantamount to illegal apartments. Is that statement correct? I'll give you a scenario. If a senior citizen had an empty nest and she wanted to rent out a bedroom and a bath to a friend or to another person, would that be an illegal rental?
Well, if I can, I could address that later. Right now, what's on the floor are the minutes themselves.
Yes,
It's a
and that's
motion
what
to
was
amend the
said, and I
minutes.
think that that should stand,
Well,
what was said.
if it's in the minutes.
It wasn't, it
well,
was
and
changed
It speaks for
to,
itself.
it was changed to the manager added, we have to make sure we are not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms, because those can amount to apartments. But what was said originally on December 17th by our manager was that we have to make sure we're not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms, because those are tantamount to illegal apartments, and that was the
I
recommendation.
think they both mean the same thing.
No, illegal is a big word, and I think it's beholden upon us to be clear with our residents. If they rent out a bedroom and a bath, that they're not breaking the law. If they're not, and if this is incorrect, it should
Well,
be corrected.
Again, what's on the floor is a motion to approve the minutes.
Right.
Anybody can make a motion to correct the minutes if you want to. There could be a motion, a second, a vote on it, and then you can go to the main minutes. So it's
Okay,
up
so
to
I'll
you.
make a motion to correct the minutes, changing the statement that we have to make sure we're not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms because that can amount to apartments, to the original statement that was said on the 17th, that we have to make sure we are not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms because those are tantamount to illegal apartments. And that's the one change I would like to make.
Mayor, may I make a
Oh,
comment?
is there a second to that? If there's
Is
no
there a second?
Then there's no-
I'm sorry, I can second that if that's the audio and we're just making it reflect what was said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, discussion?
I have a question. So I'm going to abstain from the minutes because I wasn't at those minutes, but can I vote differently?
No, the three folks who were not elected at the time will not vote on this.
Okay.
There was only 4 people, but I understand, Councilman, you weren't at that meeting. Were you at that meeting, Councilman, the last meeting?
December 17th?
It was not.
No, okay,
Mayor, may I make a comment?
okay.
I was gonna say, I would like to check the
Yes.
audio before I voted on that, so I would,
Well, if you weren't present at the meeting, you won't vote, though. Okay?
enough.
Right.
Mr. Heck, yes. you-
The minutes are not a transcript of what happens at the meetings. The minutes are general, we don't transcribe. If you want to transcribe the minutes, we certainly can get somebody to do that, and I think the statements are much of the same. I think it's much ado about nothing. I said, but I would like to, if Councilwoman O'Keefe had suggested and called me and said that, could we review these things, but this is the first that I'm hearing it from her.
This
So-
email was sent to Nicole
I
over the
understand.
weekend,
If-
and
if
I'm
you could
sorry you
let me
didn't reach it.
If you could let me finish. I would certainly look at the minutes. I think they mean the same thing. I think that if we start amending content of minutes that are not word for word, we're gonna be here for a very long time. So my request would be we carry this to the next meeting, we can review the minutes. We can review the tape and we can see what's actually said and if it really even matters.
On that note, one of the things that Councilman Bolton had requested that we look into, and I'd like to make a motion that we do that.
Wait,
given
there's a
this
motion on the
conver-
table. Let's
Okay,
stick
before I
to
get
what's on the
there.
table,
But one of
okay?
the things we talked about was talk to text. We were given the minutes on Friday afternoon at 4:30. We were given the minutes for the December 17th meeting. We were given the minutes for the January 1st meeting. We were given 30 pages of bills. We were given a whole booklet
You know,
to
I'm sorry,
review.
You know, we're still
and
not on,
these
you're not on
that
the
that would be
subject, the
better.
subject, there's a motion
now
and a
going
second
to
to
make a
correct the
motion
minutes
on
as
the
you
Okay,
requested.
sure.
Is there any further discussion on it? Then there can be a vote on amending, the minutes. Or was there a motion, was there a superseding
was a
motion to
second.
carry it?
There was this motion to amend them and a second.
Can we have another motion at the same
You
time?
could have it, what's the motion, to carry?
So I'll move to carry and check the audio against the minutes to ensure clarity and accuracy.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Carrie? Second. Okay, and then a roll call. Everybody can vote on the carry. You're not voting on the substance, even those who were not at the time. You're not voting on the substance, you're just voting on the
Voting
carry, okay?
Okay, so Mayor Schaefer,
No.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council members Bolton,
Yes.
Ferretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis.
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Next is the reorg.
The reorganizational meeting from January 1st, all were present, and this had a change made on page 3. Need a motion in a second.
I'll move it.
One second.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton,
Yes.
Ferretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis.
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Next is the general public comment. You have 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi, Paula Tedesco, 95 Upper Lakeview Avenue. I'd like to give you a stigma-free update. It has been a year since Ringwood became a stigma-free community. Throughout 2019, task force members have been raising awareness about mental health and substance use by tabling at community and school events, assisting Lakeland High School in becoming a stigma-free zone, instituting Mental Health Mondays, and by sponsoring a mental health first aid training. In 2020, Mental Health Mondays continue at the library with topics including addiction, ADHD, nutrition for mental health, and mindfulness. No pre-registration is required, and everyone is welcome and encouraged to attend. A second mental health first aid training will occur on February 1st. The training is free. Please register as soon as possible by emailing our town nurse, Jeanette Davison, as space is limited. The next stigma-free task force meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 4th at
Excuse me,
7 p.m.
Paula.
Yes.
When is that? What time is that? On
The
February 1st?
February 1st, it's from 9 to 4. It's an
9.
8-hour training.
9 to
And a certificate is provided by the Mental Health First Aid
Okay.
Association.
Thank you.
The next stigma-free task force meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 4th at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome, and we're always looking for more volunteers, ideas, and help. For more information about all of these events, please see the Ringwood Health Department Facebook page, the borough website, and I believe there's also some flyers available out front here and also at the library. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer Shue, 205 Lakeview Avenue. The Green Team submitted a report in the December meeting, which I think demonstrated the team was active throughout the year and successfully completed a number of activities. I gave everyone a copy of the report, but just in case our new members did not get the report,
Thank you.
here's a copy for you.
Thank you.
As you know, an ordinance was passed, unanimously passed in November, which restructured the team so it could meet the requirements of having a quorum and move ahead. The team has been waiting now for the council to appoint the members to the newly restructured team, and as yet we haven't heard anything. I would like to say that throughout the year we had a group of highly motivated and dedicated group of volunteers that worked hard and achieved a lot. If you read the report, you'll see that they achieved a lot. So I would like to submit to you the names of the volunteers who are willing to serve on the Green Team. There have been some changes, so if you just kind of pass this around. I had sent this before. This reflects some of the newer changes. Okay.
Is this different than what we had previously?
Well, because of the change in the chairperson of the Environmental Commission. And Tom is here, and he's indicated his interest in serving on the Green Team. So I've now made that modification. There was a couple of other modifications. I just wanted to make sure. Joanne has offered to serve as an honorary member. The team is really eager to begin their work. There's a lot to be done, including the final report for the grant, which is due in April, and there is the grant from Sustainable New Jersey, and the completion of all the expenditures on the grant. That there's still some money, as I understand, that is still left. So we are eager, the team is eager to begin work. We anticipate that we'll be able to work with the Environmental Commission. We're looking forward to that. So I'm really requesting that perhaps the council could move, perhaps tonight, in appointing the members to the Green Team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Thomas Conway, 19 West Circle. First, thanks, Mayor Schaefer, for appointing me to chair the Environmental Commission. I hope I don't let you down. But as you know, I guess my secret's out. It's never been a secret. I'm outspoken, so I'll continue that, although I'll try to avoid a repeat performance of my last meeting I was at. But the Green Team is pretty much what I'm here to talk about. 2-3 years ago, I was here and talked about how horrible Sustainable Jersey was, and we should vote against the Green Team. It's not often I admit it, but it's often that it happens. I was completely wrong. The Green Team has a lot of energy. They're a good group of people, and now that I feel the weight of responsibility of chairing the Environmental Commission, I realize just how important the Green Team is to taking the vision and goals of the Environmental Commission and turning that into feet on the street and action. So I do hope you move on that today. I really do like the energy the Green Team has brought to the town, the photo contest, some other events, their constant presence that the Environmental Commission doesn't do on its own. So hopefully we can keep that going, and if I have the opportunity to work with Joanne again, I would definitely appreciate that. She's helped mentor me and funnel some of my frenetic energy into more successful and purpose-driven causes. Lastly, Councilman Bolton, you'd mentioned quarterly reports. I don't know if that's going to be necessary back and forth, but we used to have a council liaison, so I'll look forward to working with someone on the council occasionally so that the news will flow a little more freely back and forth between the commissions and the council here. Again, thank you, Mayor Schaefer, and I hope I fulfill your confidence in me.
Good evening, Mayor Schaefer, Deputy Mayor Spear, council members. Joanne Atlas. I live at 177 Upper Lakeview Avenue. I think you all actually know me. I've lived here for 43 years, and I've served the town in a number of roles, including mayor and, as you just heard, chair of the Environmental Commission for 12 years. I've always stood for what I believe is best for Ringwood, regardless of partisan considerations. Tonight, I come here to talk about climate change and the need for you, our local elected officials, to commit yourselves to addressing this crisis at our local governmental level. As a reminder, carbon emissions reached a high record in 2019. Australia is burning. California has lost hundreds of thousands of acres of fire, and many communities are underwater due to rising sea level. To quote Pope Francis, Human-induced climate change is a scientific reality, and its decisive mitigation is a moral and religious imperative. Even in Ringwood, we are seeing the effects. This summer, dangerous algae made its appearance in our warming lake waters. We are not and will not be immune to the effects of climate change. 2 years ago, folks got together and formed a nonpartisan green team, which was designed to work with the borough to reduce its reliance on fossil fuels, to develop plans to improve the green infrastructure, to encourage the arts and creativity, and to raise awareness about how we at the local level can make a difference. Thanks to the work of the founding Green Team members under the chairmanship of Jennifer Shue, a great deal has been accomplished, and today Ringwood is proudly a Sustainable Jersey bronze certified municipality. But there is much more that could be done as we strive for silver status. The question before you now is, who are the individuals in the community willing and able to put in the extraordinary amount of time and energy and have the skills and motivation required to see it through? You have before you a list of individuals developed by the existing Green Team. I ask that you set aside any partisanship you might be feeling and make your selections of Green Team members based on the ability to effectively further its mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michaela Schwab. I live at 148 Cupsaw Avenue. I'm a current member of the Green Team, and I have been for 2 years. I've seen them do amazing things. As was already mentioned, we've achieved bronze certification. I've seen the effect firsthand on the community and on the people within the community, and it has made my life in Ringwood have so much meaning, and it's been my personal way of giving back, and I value my time so much, and I hope to do so much more. And going forward and trying to get silver status and to do all the things that I would love to see our community do, I do recommend that you move tonight and you consider for reappointment the list that the Green Team has provided for you. Climate change is especially important to my generation, and it does take a lot. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of energy, which I know is difficult to spare, especially for high school students. But it is so worth it, and right now grassroots action is the best thing we can do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We need more funding for open space in Ringwood and the Historic Society for New Jersey and Passaic County and the Board of Education.
Good evening. Steve Michelin, 29 Whaleback Terrace in beautiful Ringwood, New Jersey.
We missed you.
Well, I've been here in town 30 years. I've been coming off and on for about 20 of them. I did not attend the initial reorg meeting, but I did watch it on Channel 77. Congratulations to those that were elected and re-elected. One of the things I saw during that meeting was Councilman Bolton mentioned, and I thought it was a great idea, to have, he said quarterly, but the idea of periodic reports from the other committees that are formed. Now, the council is superior to all those other committees. Council has the audience of the people watching on Channel 77. The others do not. Myself, I tried to come to a few, let's say the Economic Development Commission. Actually, I came in December. The building was dark. So it would be nice to once in a while hear about what these committees are doing, even if doesn't, as Councilman Bolton said, it doesn't have to be the chairman. It could take 30 seconds, 60 seconds, just to brief what they're doing, just as to be informed resident. The second thing I'd like to talk about, one of the resolutions on the agenda, resolutions 2020-41 to authorize the police department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support, also known as the 1033 program. If I read correctly, this is authorizing the police to purchase an armored vehicle, tactical vehicle, specialized firearms and ammunition, and riot gear. I know some of our police have military training. I don't feel our police department should be a military organization. We do have a National Guard. We have a SWAT team, Passaic County. But my main concern, believe it or not, is not, it's financial. Taxes, everyone cares about taxes. If you were to get a armored vehicle, whatever, these things cost money to maintain. Yeah, it looks great. You're getting a used vehicle from Uncle Sam, but it's going to cost the taxpayers. Oil has to be changed. They're probably not great on gas or diesel fuel. So again, two considerations are for the council, do we really in Ringwood need these things? But that's a different question. The second is, what is the financial cost of having these items? And I hope you think long and hard about that also, please. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I'd make a motion to close public session.
Second. I'll make a motion to close public session.
Excuse me.
I'll make a motion to close the public session.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Next is old business.
We have no old business this evening, Mayor.
I want to take just a minute to thank the Green Team for showing up and for speaking. I also want to thank Joanne Atlas for her many years of service on the Environmental Commission. Also, Jan Barry. I know that Jan Barry is born and raised in Ringwood, and he served on it. And before that, you were both part. Yeah, John Barry. I'm sorry. That you were both part of Clean. Is that correct?
Skyline's Clean.
Skyline's Clean. So you have both dedicated your life to protecting the environment of Ringwood, and I don't think enough can be said about that. And I also wanted to share with the community in 2018, the Green Team recommended that the municipality and also all of the schools do an energy audit, which was completed. Scott completed one for the municipality, and the schools have completed one also. And it's really good news.
Okay, could you bring that up during manager and
Oh,
during
sure. I
council
just
and-
wanted
and
to let you know what great
mayor
accomplishments they've done for this town.
And yes,
on
they
top
have.
of what they've already
Thank you.
shared. Thank you.
Okay, next is new business.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an introduction of an ordinance number 2020-01. This is we've talked about this for the last year or two, and I credit Jamie for pushing us to do this a couple of years ago. We finally got the approval from DOT, and this is the 10-ton weight limit on Stonetown Road and also McGee Road, because that obviously it would be trapped if in fact you got on that road. So I'm just going to read this by title, Mr. Klimek.
Sure.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic of the Revised Ordinances of the Borough of Ringwood, Section 7-25, vehicles over designated registered gross weight excluded from certain roads as amended in its entirety to include parts of Stonetown Road and McGee Road.
Okay, so to put it as a motion, there'll be a resolution, resolve that ordinance 2020-01 be introduced with second reading on February 18, 2020 at the municipal building at approximately 7:30 p.m. and the borough clerk is directed to publish a copy of the ordinance in the official newspaper of the municipality. The motion is second. Any discussion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Discussion. Scott, I just have a question. So what does this mean, that on Stonetown Road, McGee Road, there'll be traffic signs?
There'll be signs that it's much like Skyline Drive, it'll be a 10-ton weight limit, so the quarry trucks and the heavier duty trucks won't be using Stonetown Road as a cut-through to get from, the quarry to this side of town. They'll use the county road, which is appropriate, instead of going by all those residents. And as you remember, at the bottom of Stonetown Road by Ricker Road. There's a school bus stop at the bottom of that hill. You know, I often worry about those trucks coming down. So yeah, this will, so there'll be signs, there'll be notification. I'm sure the police department will start giving issues of warnings at first, but yeah, they will be restricted, only local delivery. So if they're doing local delivery, obviously they can do that, but much like Skyline Drive, they won't be able to traverse through Stonetown Road as a bypass.
So for instance, the quarry will be made aware of?
Well, the quarry will be made aware, we'll be posting it, we're putting signs up, you know, everybody will be made aware.
Okay.
And it's been approved by the DOT, that's what took so long, we had to get their blessing. This is the ordinance, they gave us the okay to put a restriction on the road. This is the ordinance that you have to pass, this is the first reading with the second reading, and then we can start to post signs.
Move it.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
No.
No,
We have a motion to second.
We had a
Where we
That was a little
didn't-
bit of discussion, then we're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
go roll call.
We didn't have the motion in the second to read by title, and then
That's
this,
all right.
let's
That's-
skip that and do
Just
this.
skip
Okay, so would you like me to do the roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Scott, the second one is 2020-02. A motion to read by title on this one?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Do you want me to read, give you some
We'll do
ideas?
the roll call, then I'll read it.
Okay.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Scott, do you want to read it?
So, well, I was gonna give them a brief summary because
Yeah.
it's a long ordinance and,
Well, let me just read it, then that's what the motion was. And then you get, okay. An ordinance amending in its entirety, Chapter 28, flood damage prevention ordinances of, the revised ordinances of the Borough of Ringwood. Okay.
I'm taking your job, Mr. Cook, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, but I'm trying to do my best to
Yeah,
stop it.
yeah, sometimes I'm hard to manage. I know Kathy thinks that. In 2015, FEMA prepared a preliminary revised flood map for Ringwood. 2013 started in Atlantic, Hudson, and so on. November 27, 2019, Ringwood received a letter from New Jersey DEP dated November 20th, 2019, and that requires all New Jersey municipalities to adopt a new flood prevention ordinance by April 17th, 2020, in order to remain in the National Flood Insurance Program. As directed by this letter, the provided a Model D best available sample ordinance was used. Ringwood's current flood damage prevention ordinance last was revised in August 2008 as per FEMA. On December 9, 2019, Ringwood received final firm flood approvals for these maps to become effective on April 17, 2020. December 26, 2019, New Jersey DEP preliminarily approved the ordinance. And in order for Ringwood to stay compliant with the NFIP, this ordinance must be introduced and adopted, and 2 certified copies need to be delivered to the DEP by April 17th. This ordinance is important because for people, whether us getting money from FEMA or individual residents getting money from FEMA, if we do not have this ordinance up to date and in accordance with their standards, we will not be in that program. So I strongly encourage you to pass this ordinance.
Definitely want to be in the program. Do you know, is there a high-level overview of what the changes were from 2008? Anything?
I don't think that they were,
meaningful to residents?
I don't think they were significant, but
The changes happen on a nationwide basis. This is part of the National Flood Insurance Program. So there are different, you'll see that there are definitions and different kinds of standards for provisions for flood hazard reduction and such that were carried on by the federal program, and this is just bringing those latest federal standards, and bringing the borough into those latest federal standards. It also calls out particularly updated new maps and gives us there's an interim status where they're making their data better, but they don't have a published map. Back when they were, printing maps and handing them out, the map would have an effective date, and that would be the date, and that would be the map. You can get electronic data that's more up to date than what's going on out there. So there's nothing here. You know what it is? It's compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program in whatever form, the form it took in 2008 or the form it takes in 2020. We're still just being compliant, no more or less.
It's not like, somebody who wasn't in a flood zone now might be in a flood zone. Right?
That's possible. That's a result of mapping. I didn't really inspect it, so I didn't take a look. It is what it is. There are provisions to get yourself out of a flood zone if you find your property in a flood zone. There are ways to go about it, the same ways that always existed, letters of map amendment, letters of map revision. So it's all in keeping with the program. Nothing Ringwood specific in this. It's just getting ourselves in line with that national program.
Well, a quick question I had, if the map has changed, have people been notified of the changes if they weren't in a flood zone and now they are? How does that operate?
This has been an ongoing DEP program for a long time. There's been a lot of OEM meetings, there's been a lot of publications about the maps and what has happened over the course of time. So
Right.
there's been a lot of public outreach over the years, but I don't know that they changed significantly in Ringwood, but sometimes they do change. And there is a process by which, in fact, you find yourself, a piece of your property is in the flood where you can apply to get yourself taken out based upon a certain set of circumstances. But we need to be compliant with the FEMA.
Right.
Otherwise, nobody's going to be eligible for any FEMA relief if, in fact, there's some that's applied for. So.
Makes sense. Roll call?
Well, I don't think I did the second
I'm
part.
sorry.
Resolve that ordinance 2020-01 is hereby introduced with second reading on February 18, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at the municipal building. The Borough Clerk is directed to publish a copy of the ordinance in the official newspaper of the municipality. To be a motion and second, Madam Mayor.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Next is a resolution.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2020-35, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $698,165.27. Supplemental payments in the amount of $6,079,807.63, and merchant services fees in the amount of $140.33 to be credited to the following accounts, for a total of $6,778,113.23, of which Lakeland is receiving $1,182,298.80, and Ringwood Board of Education is receiving $1,942,920.64. Any questions on the bill list?
Yeah, I just had one question. There was one from 12/18/19 for $4,050 for open space. Could you clarify what that was?
What page was that on? Who was that to?
I just copied off, I don't know the page, but it was for Chapnell,
Here,
surveying services.
Oh, we had a surveyor to survey the property down at, survey the property that you guys are purchasing at,
Greenwood Lake
Greenwood
Turnpike,
Lake
yes.
On Greenwood
The
Lake
open
Turnpike?
space purchase, yes,
and
with
that's
the
a
survey.
contract that you folks awarded. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Roll call?
Need a motion and a second.
Oh, sorry. Motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-36, whereas the Borough of Ringwood contracted with Tilcon, Inc., using the Morris County Co-op for the 2019 road program, contract number 2019-1. And whereas the Borough Engineer has submitted and recommends payments in the amount of $287,827.31, invoice number C1912038, for the work completed. Now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the total payment in the amount of $287,827.31 to Tilcon Inc. of Parsippany, New Jersey, subject to the required New Jersey monthly manning reports and the certified payroll records. And I should note that this was paid for from utility reimbursements for utility work done on the roads.
Discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-37, whereas a professional services contract was awarded to Schwann Reed Halls Engineering for Erskine Road and Lakeview Avenue roadway and drainage improvement project, Part 2, contract number 2019-07, in the amount of $35,100. And whereas Schwanneweed Halls Engineering has submitted and the Borough Engineer has reviewed and recommends payment in the amount of $14,587.50, invoice 3414-174. Now therefore be it resolved, Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the payment in that dollar amount to Schwanneweed Halls Engineering of Oakland, New Jersey.
Any discussion?
I'll move it. Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
The next resolution is 2038, which is the appointment of the auditor. You folks authorized us to go out for RFPs. We received 2 proposals for auditors, and I recommend that we reappoint Nisavaccia LLP. They worked very well with the finance department last year, and the results have been very satisfactory. So I recommend you sticking with the same auditors that you appointed last year. My resolution for you to consider, whereas the Borough of Ringwood announced through a published notice Bergen record of December 6th, 2019, its official municipal website, newspaper and our website, that is soliciting proposals for professional services for auditor for 2020 under the fair and open provisions, NJSA 19:44A-20.4. And whereas 2 proposals were received on December 27th by the municipal clerk, now therefore be it resolved that the following professional appointment and execution of the contract be made to the auditor for 2020 in accordance with that same statute, to Nisavaccia LLP of Newton, New Jersey.
Discussion?
One thing that I would clarify, particularly since they're bolded numbers, while on the surface it may look like we're going with the more expensive option, one of the reasons why we had changed in the past was because the previous auditor had done work without, permission is perhaps the right word, wrong word, but authorization, and then give us bills. So it looks like we're going with the more expensive option, but they would do work that we didn't ask them to do and then send us bills for it afterwards.
In the aggregate, it's much cheaper, and they're introducing some programs that are creative and I think that are going to be helpful to the borough, and some security provisions. I think they're doing a great job.
We have a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2039 is also a professional services for a non-fair and open contract for the Borough of Ringwood for this year, and this is for your Labor Council. I reviewed the proposals, and again, I recommend that we reappoint Kaufman, Semiraro, and Liebman. They've been involved in many cases, civil service cases, actions, contract negotiations, and they've been very successful at all of these cases with any of our labor law issues. So I recommend that you reappoint them as our order. Did I go out of order?
Yeah,
I'm
more
sorry.
on 2023 is what you just did.
I think you just wanted to make Dick sweat.
Yeah,
That's
you
really
just
all.
It's this darn tab that gets me. I went right to the tab.
Any discussion?
Who are we talking about?
For Mr. Klimek, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
2020-39 is Mr. Klimek. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take this tab out because I don't need that.
All right, so back to
Mr. Klimek's contract. I can read it in entirety if you want me to, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Okay. Whereas the Borough of Ringwood has a need to acquire a municipal attorney as a non-fair and open contract pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 19:44A-20.4, and whereas the anticipated term of the contract is 1 year, whereas Richard Klimek has submitted a proposal dated January 3rd, 2020, indicating that he will provide services as municipal attorney for $46,500, and whereas Richard Klimek has completed and submitted the business entity disclosure form, which certifies that Richard Klimek has not made any reportable contributions to a political candidate or a committee for the Borough of Ringwood in the previous year, and that the contract will prohibit Richard Klimek from making contributions throughout the term of the contract. Whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available for the contract in a total amount of $46,500 from budget line item number 00120-712-227. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of Ringwood authorizes the borough manager Scott Heck to enter into a contract with Richard J. Klemek as described herein. And be it further resolved that the business disclosure entity certification and determination of value be placed in the file with this resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution be published as a requirement of the law within 10 days of its passage.
Have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Now I can go through where the total was, which is 20/20/40. Which I read to you my recommendation for Kaufman Center Road meeting. And they are from Fort Lee, New Jersey.
I'll move it.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Next resolution was spoken about during public portion, and I think it was spoken about at the last public portion when we adopted it. The 1033 program is a program where we can acquire equipment through surplus Army and military type work. We do occasionally get some things that are important for the borough of Ringwood. I have to sign for everything that they get, and I am very cognizant of two things. One, the cost of what it takes to maintain it, but probably more importantly, the cost of what it is if once you have it and it goes bad, then you gotta replace it. I always worry about, we get things because they're free, but then when they're no longer useful when their useful service is up, we have to buy new ones. So I have to sign off on all of these things. We have acquired very little from this program. I think we got a vehicle, we have a forklift, we have some things that we need that are rational things that we've acquired over the last couple of years. So the chief would like to have this again as an option for us to look at. As an example, right now we're looking, our dive boat has to be replaced. We've been looking to see if we can acquire a dive boat through this program. Otherwise, we're going to have to buy a dive boat, which I'm going to recommend one way or another. Throughout the course of the year, we have to replace it. So those are the kind of things that we're looking at.
We could look to get it through the program.
Yeah, if they have one, but we certainly don't have. I don't allow them to just cavalierly go pick up things. You know, there's some things that we have acquired, but we haven't used it all that much. But it is a useful tool if in fact there is something that we do need, and it makes sense. We use this program.
Are we able to redline some of the larger items so that if there ever were to be a case for a wheeled armor vehicle, they would have to come back for authorization?
Well, they have to get authorization for myself, but I can tell you that if we're going to buy an armored vehicle, you're going to know about it in advance. So, yeah, I certainly could do that. They're going to want the resolution the way this is their draft resolution, but we certainly, if we're going to buy anything of that value, we will, or significance, we will certainly let you know.
Let us know or give us the option to say no, is what I think Councilman Bolton was referring to.
I would just want it to come back, because
Yeah.
it does, I know the program has a lot of good things,
Right.
but I think the
Absolutely.
majority of them are on like the first page, and it's sort of the demo B through Q property, with the exception of perhaps some of the firearms and ammunition, the wheeled armor vehicle, wheeled tactical vehicle, command and control vehicle, breaching apparatus that hopefully makes sense to even a layman, but then all the riot batons, riot helmets, riot shields. Is that a blank check that we want to?
Well, you're actually not writing a check, but having said all of that, I certainly will bring any requests back to you folks.
Okay, roll call.
I need a motion in a second.
Sorry.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-42, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified the funds are available for the payment 20 for the Erskine Lake Property Owners Association Dam Restoration in the amount of $24,806.14 to be credited to the following account for the same total. There are some members of Erskine Lake. I would recommend, if you are, that you would abstain.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Abstain.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Being that I live in that neighborhood, I'm going to abstain as well.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
That's all the resolution, Mayor.
Okay, consent agenda resolution.
Consent agenda resolutions, 2020-43, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Ringwood has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Ringwood is not desirous of removing any resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. 2020-43 is the approval of the consent agenda. 44 is the authorized redemption of sack sale certificates, various. 45, professional services payment, construction, inspection supervision, Erskine Road, Lakeview Avenue, Phase 1-2, contract number 19-2, for $2,000. Authorize the closing of Skyline Drive for St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is March 28th. Authorize, 47 is authorize the use of the park and ride for St. Patrick's Day, which is March 28th. 48 is authorize the payroll and payroll transfers for December of 2019. And 49 is to certify the Ringwood Ambulance Corps as the emergency services provided for the borough.
I have a question.
Okay.
Since I live on Lakeview Avenue, do I have to abstain from that?
No.
Okay, just asking.
We all drive on it.
Any discussion on any? Roll call, oh, motion.
I'll move the consent
Sorry.
agenda.
Second.
Roll call,
Mayor Schaefer?
yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Okay, managers report.
I have a few things for you this evening, but before I start, Kathy, I think if you're concerned about a comment that I made at a public portion or a meeting, it probably would be appropriate to call me and talk about it, if in fact you want us to resolve and look at it. If it just would make sense to me. That's, in your reorganization speech, you talked about working together, and I guess that might not necessarily be the case.
That
But-
is absolutely the case, that I want to work together. And Nicole knows that I sent all of these corrections well ahead of this meeting so that it could be brought to your attention by the clerk. These were made prior to this meeting. I would never bring it up here. I was told by Nicole this before the meeting that she had made some of the changes and amended it, but that the borough had decided not to change the recommendation I had made, that we use your verbiage as it was stated at the December 17th meeting without the changes.
In the spirit of working together, I think it would be appropriate that if you have these kind of concerns, that you talk to me about it. But I'm gonna move on to my manager's report. First of all, Mayor, I'm requesting the appointment of a finance committee so that we can go forward with the budget process.
Okay. I'd like to appoint Deputy Mayor Spear, Councilman Bolton, and Councilman Ferretti to the Finance Committee.
Okay, Ringwood has also been awarded a grant for $20,000 through the New Jersey Healthy Communities Network from Chilton Hospital. It's a grant for a 2-year cycle. It's gonna be $10,000 a year, and we're providing initiatives at Hewitt School. It's gonna be a walking trail and I think almost like a walking classroom, and we're going to be putting that at Hewitt School. We met with the principal there when we were applying for the grant. So we received that. We're gonna do the walking trail in-house with our DPW staff. So I think it's a great program. It's gonna promote healthy living. They were at one point talking about hydroponic plant pots and things like that to try and grow foods, but I think that it's a great program. I think it was in your packet. So that's good news for the community, so we're gonna move forward on that. Mayor, you've also asked me to, as everybody knows, we need to appoint a new judge. Ours unfortunately passed away, and a prosecutor. So I'd like to schedule a time for the council to interview these positions. So my question is, do you want to do this as a committee, or do you want to do this as a full council? What's the pleasure?
Probably should do it as a full council.
Full council, okay. So what I'll do is we have a bunch of resumes that have been submitted. I will distribute the resumes, and I will schedule a block of time for each of these people to come in. But understand that they have courts in other towns, so it might be a little bit bumpy as to how we get this done. But I will have you schedule a meeting as in 48-hour notice once we find out when all these folks are available.
Okay, I have a question regarding, I'm very sorry that our judge passed away, and I recognize that we need to find a new judge to replace. One of the things I wanted to ask if you had looked into, because I know that this council is very interested in trying to share services whenever possible. This is a big budget item. I think it's a judge, a prosecutor, a public defender, and the court costs. Have we ever looked into sharing municipal courts with one of our neighbors, maybe Wanacue or West Milford? Have we ever reached out to anyone to see if that's a possibility to save our taxpayers' money?
We absolutely have researched
And
several
how-
times, and the reality is, whether you use a shared court in Wanacue or you use a shared court in West Milford or Pompton Lakes, there's a couple of factors. You still have to pay a judge, you still have to pay a prosecutor, you still have to have a public defender, you still have all those positions. You're
But is
really
the
using another
salary
facility.
shared?
No, you're appointing your own judge.
Okay.
And often, it's difficult. Right now, our court is in town, so we schedule our court time so that the officers are on duty when we have court. If your court is out of town in Wanacue, you'll be scheduling it when they're on duty here, but they're in Wanacue per se. We looked at it, we looked at the place in Wanacue. There's some, yeah, there's some bumpiness to that. We may revisit it down the road, but also our PBA contract calls for Ringwood being in-town court and out-of-town court. They get paid extra. There's extra funding for them if they're out-of-town court. Now, I'm sure we can work all that out, but the bottom line is, every time we've looked at it, we brought the Passaic County Court Administrator up. We've talked to the assignment judges about this. It hasn't been in our best interest at this point, but obviously we're open to it. And you're only doing a year appointment. Right now, we have an interim judge appointed by Passaic County judicial system. When, that's what they do when the judge, and we have an interim prosecutor. So it's a yearly appointment. I think that I would recommend that we move forward. We can always look at that again, although I don't think that we'll be doing that anytime soon, because the numbers just didn't work out to be positive.
I always thought we got to split the salaries as well as the locations.
Well, they may very well have a different judge than you have, so you have to appoint
Right.
your judge. So we have a salary ordinance for a judge. There's a lot of moving parts.
If we were to hypothetically, in the future, land on the same judge, then the towns would split the costs? If we
We've
were
had the
paying-
judges with.
You have a record-keeping thing where who's keeping the court records and where are they being kept, and you can't be mingling Wanacue tickets and then a Ringwood ticket coming and get served. It sounds like, I mean, that Bergen County might do something along those lines where they have the regional courts. But I think we're gonna wind up getting killed on the police officer time. Heading down there, it's a 4-hour shot, just going 15 minutes down the road. It didn't make sense.
And with the
But
exception.
yeah, keep looking at it. One day they're gonna push us back because our building isn't bomb-proof, and their building might be closer to bomb-proof than ours.
Then we'll need to use the 1033 program. No. The reality is, we have had the same judge and prosecutor and public defender as Wanacue has for 30 years, with the exception of a 4-year span of time. And it didn't work out when we had the same. I can't imagine it would work out if we don't have the same. I don't know who they appointed in Wanacue, so I recommend for this year you follow through. I mean, we can always look at it, but we were far apart.
The police time is another important consideration.
The library asked me to.
Sorry, one other thing.
I'm sorry.
In terms of scheduling, I don't know if it would work out with them, but hypothetically, like when we were interviewing for clerks, we tried to have them come in prior to council meetings, since everybody already has it on the calendar. So to whatever extent we can leverage those windows, that would be great.
I think the problem you're gonna have is our council
Hypothetical,
meetings are
yeah.
Tuesday, and we don't have court on Tuesday, they're gonna have court elsewhere. But I think what's gonna happen is I'll give you a list of dates, and we'll see what works with them, and whoever can make it, and we'll do the best we can. So.
Just had to throw it out there.
So the library's been very active this year. the library board and Dan's doing a good job. They asked me to share with the council that they had 32 adult programs with 207 in attendance last year, 12 kids programs with 252 in attendance, 7 tween/teen STEM programs, 42 in attendance, which is a new record, and they also had a third grade field trips. They had 414 kids that went to the library this year. They had 75,324 people that walked through the library, and so they're doing a great job, and they're working hard, and they're coming up with some new programs, and they wanted me to share that with you.
And the director is great, Dan.
Dan is very good to work with.
Yep.
He works with the staff here well. He's a good fit. I want to announce that the EPA is having a public hearing on February 10th at 7 p.m. at Ryerson. They haven't 100% confirmed it, but they pretty much confirmed it. I scheduled it, and that's for the Ringwood Mines proposed remedial action plan for the groundwater.
I'm sorry, Scott, what was the date on that?
You'll be getting a notice, but it's February 10th at 7 p.m. at Ryerson School.
Thank you.
Does that mean they've completed it, or they're just getting feedback from the community?
This is their public hearing for their proposed remedial action plan.
Okay, thank you.
You know, in your packet, you have a proposal from Langen Engineering for James Drive Treatment Plant for additional services to address the capacity assurance exceedance. Right now, we're over capacity in the plant. At some point in the near future, we're not going to talk about it at length, and I would like you to look at that program. We need to cut down on the groundwater infiltration because we're treating a lot of groundwater, whether people have hooked up sump pumps, whether there's some leaks in our sewer mains, whatever the case may be. So we're going to need to talk about, we're not going to really talk about it at length tonight because I wanted to give you enough time. I wanted to get a budget committee because it's a significant dollar amount. It's a $185,000 proposal. But it's required by the DEP, so it's something that we're going to need to talk about.
And this is what Helen had emailed around to us.
Helen emailed it to you today, yes. So, but I just wanted to draw your attention to it so that you had it. We have a resolution this evening. I'd like to propose a resolution for agri-environmental laboratory services for a comprehensive water asset management plan. Actually, I don't even need a resolution. It's within my spending authority. I usually like to do resolutions. So it's up to you whether you want me just to authorize it. We have to do a water management plan with the state of New Jersey. And I recommend that our new water operator complete that program with our existing staff. The cost is $5,700, not to exceed, I think, $5,700, an hourly rate. And we've already done a lot of the legwork. That's why some of these water asset management plants are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, but we've done a lot of that. So we have a lot of information to provide it. But he'll put it into a program that makes sense. He'll get it certified and blessed by the DEP. So I recommend that we move forward with that. I can either do it through my authority or through resolution. It's up to you.
I think you can do it for your authority.
Yeah, we should proceed, right?
I just want,
No
it's
objections.
an important number. It's an important
Yeah.
thing. I just want you guys to know. So, I also would like to get authorization to go out for an RFP for water operator. Last year we were doing it on a contract basis. The contract is up shortly. So, Mr. Klimek, could I get a resolution for an RFP for a water operator?
Now, what's it, we have a 1-year term, Scott?
Can we do a 2-year term?
Yeah, it's not a yeah, we could do it too. It's not a is that an engineering degree required? Yeah.
I don't know. You could do a 1-year term.
Let's
That way it's
do it 1
professional
year, yeah.
services.
Okay. Okay, resolved that the borough manager hereby, do you want to put out the RFP? You'll set up the standards in the RFP?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Resolved that the borough manager hereby directed and authorized to prepare, issue, and have published an RFP for water service operator for a term of, with a specific term of 1 year of service. Motion and second? Scott will do the details, okay?
Second? We have a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, was Ryan, you were the, okay.
Yes.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
We received a letter from a property owner for 2 vacant parcels on Canisi Drive. He's offering to sell the land back to the borough. He bought them for a lot of years ago. There was a requirement in the sale where he billed within X amount of time. Obviously, he's well aware of some of the conditions of the property based upon the Highlands and some of the restrictions. He's offering to sell both of the properties for $46,000, which is the assessment, and he'd like to know if we were interested. I think that if we're ever talking about redoing the Skyline Drive corridor, the corner of Skyline Drive and Canisi Drive would certainly be a piece of property that you might want to have as a borough-owned piece of property. I recommend that we at least talk to the guy, and I wanted to know what you folks thought. I didn't want to have too much conversation with him until I spoke to all of you.
Proceed.
Is the land adjacent to any other open space or any
Well, it's
thing
across
that
the street.
benefits?
It's across the street from Dr. K.
Okay.
It's right on Canisi Drive and Skyline
I
Drive.
know where Canisi Drive, down to the library, right?
Well, he doesn't go all the way down to the library. He goes
So
down to
where
our-
does he own them?
He
The
owns
other
the
side?
corner. He owns the
Okay.
corner on the left-hand side as you go into the library
Mhm.
that abuts our property. And then he owns the property behind Dr. K, which is a lot of wetlands and whatnot, but it's also adjacent. It's in between Dr. K and our park and ride.
So purchasing it would take it off the tax rolls, right?
It's not paying very much taxes right now, and yes, it would take it off the tax rolls. But you might be able to repurpose portions of the one piece of property. I think it might make some sense if you decide you want down the road to sell it, or you can find a way that it's worthwhile, it makes sense. But in the meantime, I recommend that you at least consider it and give me some authority to negotiate with the.
Do you know what the yearly tax bill is for the one vacant lot?
I'd have to look at it, but both lots, each lot is assessed at $23,000, so my guess is you're talking insignificant dollars.
Would the only mechanism have to be the open space funds
Yes,
to do it?
yes, so if open space funds are involved, it'll have to be processed through open
It could
space.
either,
funds.
it could either be open
Can we
space or
buy
it
it?
could be borough Ringwood property. We'd have to talk about that, but I wanted to at least see if you were interested before I did any of the research. I would suggest you buy it under the borough of Ringwood, because you may want to put, I don't know, a clock tower there or a welcome something there. I don't know what you might want to do in the future.
Well, that's why I was asking about the open space ones, because if it was open space, then it would just stay put. But if we wanted to put a sign up there, we would have to just purchase it as the borough, no?
Yeah, well, open space also
We put
allows sort
signs
of,
on, yeah.
historical also, depends on things,
Oh,
but
that's
there
a
are,
good
there
point.
are, there are restrictions to open space.
I guess what
Right.
I'm,
Plain out purchase is a different.
what I'm asking
Yeah.
is, do you want me to move forward, and what authority do you want to give me to move
I
forward
don't
and
think so,
negotiate?
see what you can negotiate.
Is this wetlands?
One of them,
Yes.
one of them is.
Looks like wetlands.
Yeah, one of them is wetlands. The one behind Dr. K's is certainly wet.
Yeah.
There may be some on the other street, on the other property as well. But for our purposes, maybe not so much for construction purposes, there may be some benefits to us down the road, so. I was gonna meet with Jeff and go out there, but I didn't wanna do any of that until I found out if we were even remotely interested.
So it's behind the parking, right, on the dog park, or like in back of.
No, one is immediately behind Dr. K's building, Ringwood Commons.
Okay.
It's kind of a low piece of property. And the other property is immediately to the left as you're pulling onto Canisi Drive, going to the library, the corner.
The corner.
It's the wooded lot.
Oh, so it's either side of the road?
Yes. Both of them both of them abut our property. So, if somebody could propose some type of resolution.
Propose a resolution authorizing you to talk to the guy?
Yeah.
Negotiate. I like the word
Negotiate,
negotiate.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd second that.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
It's not often that I recommend you buy something. I'm now recommending that we sell stuff, so. I'd like to get rid of some of the surplus equipment. Every couple of years, we put things on auction. At your table in this color is the surplus list. If you look at the page in the back, these are the type of things that I'd like to auction off. Should have been at your placemats this evening.
Yellow,
No.
yep.
Is it yellow for everybody?
Should be.
Should be.
I didn't see any.
Jamie, yours should be in the book. Yours wasn't in the book? Oh, you know what?
John, do you
I
have
just bought it for you and I.
Okay.
We didn't give it, I didn't give it to everybody, you're right.
Okay.
Sorry.
So let me read some of the things that are on this list of things that the cars that we've acquired and things that we've received from, from the police department and whatnot. There's a Honda CRV 2000 that was seized. There was an Audi A4 2007 that was seized. There's a dump truck. There's a 2001 Ford Ranger. There's a 2001 F-350 cab and chassis. There's a 2005 minivan that was forfeiture. There was there was a 2006 F-350 pickup. There's a 2006 another F-250 pickup. 2001 car number 201 is 2013 Ford Explorer. It's an old police car. We have another old police car that's a 2013. We have all the stackable chairs here. Believe it or not, people buy that stuff. We replaced those because they were all ripped. We have an old Salter that we'd like to get rid of. We have a paving box that we don't use any longer. We'd like to auction that off. And we have a few old plows, and these are, and we have a utility body for the back of a truck. These are all items that are laying around that we can put out at auction and sell, and we've been very successful with the Gov Deals auctions. So,
You're gonna be doing the online auction?
online auction, yeah. So I have a resolution that we did once before. If you would like me to read this, Mr. Klimek, or do you want to look at it? That's the resolution that we did 2 years ago. and
Okay, well,
authorized.
you're declaring those items surplus and authorizing online auction sale. Let's see,
Would there be a link to that from the borough website?
Yes, govdeals.com. Kelly actually started that program quite a few years ago. It's been very successful.
All right, this is, what number is this?
This would be 52.
52, okay, all right. Without reciting the whole thing, I'll just summarize that the borough is the owner of the surplus property that Scott alluded to. The borough is hereby declared to be surplus property, and the borough manager hereby authorized to sell the said property on an online auction, which is described herein, which is now the common way of disposing of these items. The full resolution will be part of the record, okay? Will be a motion and a second.
Second.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
We have been working on the energy audit with, and as you know, a couple of months ago, I told you that a lot of the program, we don't really fit into the guidelines of the audit, but we do fit into the direct install program, so they rolled a lot of our information into that. They have visited most of our facilities at this point. They made recommendations already for some parts of the library. We're working on the rest of the buildings. I expect to have the rest of them within a week. There's obviously a financial component, which is something that we're gonna talk about in the budget discussions that we're gonna be having shortly. But there are a lot of improvements. We used this program, I think, about 8 years ago. It was very successful as well. We did a lot of the firehouses, energy efficiency for their boilers and their air conditioning and whatnot. So I hope to see more of that in the next couple of weeks. They spent a couple of days here, and we even took them to pump stations. We took them to the ball fields. We took them to just about anywhere there was energy being used. We did that. So
Did we also look at the parking lots, like the park and ride, and where the buses are parked for the schools?
everywhere we use energy, we took them to.
Okay,
So
thank you.
every light, a lot of the lights are not really eligible for some of this, but some of them are. Some of the ball field lights, they don't consider that part of their program. But, and anything over a 25-ton air conditioner, they also don't include. But having said all of that, I hope to get a report shortly of some of the improvements, and then we're gonna obviously have to talk about the funding necessary, because obviously it's a matching grant. So hopefully I will have some of that stuff for you. For those of you who live in the Erskine area, you know that we've had a couple of water main breaks in the Erskine area, Black Rock Terrace. Black Rock Terrace is one of the few water mains that is a 2-inch galvanized pipe. We have repair band after repair band after repair band. As a matter of fact, when we dug this one up, we found the repair ban from 2 years ago next to where this one was leaking. So we really need to replace that water main. So I'm going to be bringing a proposal to you for that in the near future. There are very few of those old summer water lines left. 2-inch, as you can imagine, there's 24 homes feeding off of a 2-inch main. They must not have a lot of water in their homes. So we're going to work on that. So that's something that we're going to be talking about in the near future.
What size is a water main? 6?
8. You can't have a
I know
hydrant.
it was bigger. I just wanted to
Yeah,
see
you
how-
can't have an hydrant on anything less than a 6-inch, although we always try to put them on an 8-inch. So, and both ends have been replaced, and a lot of the other streets have been. This one has not. So, the good news is we're Jackie and I have been working on a newsletter, mostly Jackie. I'm just going to take a little bit of credit for it, but we've been working on trying to get a newsletter, so that will be available shortly. It's going to be borough-related stuff, but there's a lot of things that we decided that probably would be a good idea to get out, so that's going to be available to everybody very soon. I already did you did the resolution all in one, the surplus stuff, Mr. Klimek?
Yes.
That was all. And I just want to remind everybody, although everybody pretty much knows that the DPW, you can go on to Ringwood NJ, report a problem, and let us know if there's issues, and the work order gets generated so much quicker than calling and waiting and getting to the right department, and sometimes people are surprised at how quickly we get out there when you do that. So I encourage everybody to use that service. I'm also going to tell everybody that, you know, we paid extra this year, and this council last year authorized every other week recycling pickup.
It was the same cost as the old schedule, though.
It was the same cost, but the reason that I'm telling you that they changed the contract to allow for every other week, because it was easier for everybody to focus. And yet everybody brings their recyclables to the recycling center, and then we have to pay to get rid of them. Whereas if you bring it to the curb, it's including in the garbage contract. Now, we're looking at a lot of different markets and a lot of different ways to focus on how we can generate some income and some different revenues and things with our recycling. But as we know, everybody here is recycling is not necessarily stuff that's yielding the money that it was before, because the market gets saturated. So I encourage everybody to use the services that the contract, that these council people gave you, where you can just bring it to your curb. We're gonna start sorting it at the recycling center. You're not gonna get it commingled at the recycling center any longer, because we're trying to get glass with glass, and we're trying to make it more effective. So I urge everybody to please use the curbside service, because that's included in your bill already. When we truck away a truckload of empty bottles or empty plastic, it's a lot of expense to get rid of it when you can put it at your curb. So I encourage everybody to do that.
And it may be an old habit from when we used to make money off of it.
Yeah,
like
that's
I
what
always
I-
felt like I was doing a
Right.
duty if I like separated it and drove it down.
Bring your corrugated
Right.
over it.
Corrugated, you can get a little bit of money for it. Paper, you get a little bit of money for it, as long as it's dry, as long as it's baled, as long as it's compacted, and it's not easy anymore.
Which I'm sure it almost never is.
So, it never is. So,
But
so-
speaking of recycling, just quickly, I noticed that it was advertised in the record that Ringwood is one of the best in Passaic County for recycling, and it was at 67%. I understand the DEP was giving out grants based on that. Were we eligible for any money from the county or the state based
Not-
on our great recycling?
we do have a great recycling, thank you. We work hard at that. But we do get grants. We get tonnage grants, we get recycling grants. You're not allowed to necessarily double dip, I don't think. I could certainly look into the DEP grant.
Right.
Often the DEP grants, not always, but often they're costly. They're not as,
Well, I think Paramus received a grant of $145,000, and Fairlawn received a grant of $135,000.
and what were they gonna do with the grant?
I'm not sure I'm just going by what the record said, so I'm not sure what the municipality was doing with the grant, but
we'll
it is
check.
a large sum of money, so I'd like to see, since we did do our due diligence and came in only second in Passaic County, if there's money to be had to reward this borough.
Certainly,
it
if
would be
there's
worth
if there's a
looking
grant
into.
program that you know of.
Just here, I'll pass this along to you.
Okay.
It's from the New Jersey Record, North Jersey. It was just, I'll send you the article, Nicole. Sure.
And earlier I spoke, and this is the last thing, Mayor, I spoke about Walt Davison, a man that I respect for. But Jim Martocci and Sean Noonan also served this community for a lot of years. And Jim's not gonna stop serving the community. I can tell you in the snowstorm, he told me what street wasn't loud and he called me to let me know. And he also reminded me of several different things that we have to watch for spending on. So these individuals are gonna still stay involved, and they have served the community very well as well. So I was remiss in not pointing them out, but Walt Davison, having served 40 years, I felt was, and 27 years I served with Walt Davison. He's a great man. So thank you for that. I have nothing else, Mayor.
I do have a question for you, Scott, because you brought it up. I reviewed the minutes. One of the things that we had to do since Friday afternoon, we received the minutes from December, we received the minutes from January, received the bill list, which is about 30 pages, and we received this booklet. So it's a lot of homework for the weekend. Weekend where most families go away because it was a 3-day weekend. But I did look over the minutes, and I made a lot of amendments. I sent them all to Nicole. Anything that appears red are the ones that I amended, and there was no problem. So what is the protocol? Because if I find this and I alert Nicole before the meeting, and then at the meeting, she showed me what was done, and she told me that you decided, now I would think that you'd be part of that process, wouldn't you?
Part of what process?
Of reviewing the minutes and amending them?
Occasionally I would be, but I guess my point is this.
Occasionally, not on a regular basis?
No, not on a regular basis, but
Okay.
here's my point. If in fact you have a concern about something that Scott Heck said, that you were concerned about it being illegal, maybe
Not
you-
illegal,
that-
it was your
would be good-
verbiage. I didn't say
It would be really good
it
if you
was
let me
illegal.
finish, because here's the problem. These poor girls, that's an exact example of the problem. They listen to the minutes. They try to ascertain who's saying what while two people are speaking. All they hear is a lot of words and a lot of garbled, and they have to try and rip that apart, and that's why we don't have these word-for-word minutes. So I would ask that, just let me finish. So I guess my only suggestion is, if you have a concern about something that I said, if you're really looking for a spirit of cooperation and working together, you would probably have just called me, because you must have called Nicole. So I'd be happy to review it. I don't know exactly what I said. I will certainly look at it. I certainly didn't listen to the tape. My suggestion is, if you want to work together, there's probably better ways to do it rather than bring it up here. You could probably ask me the question, and if you're still not happy with it, well then, by all means, bring it up here. My suggestion is, maybe there's a better method by which we could do this.
Perhaps there is. I did bring it up prior to this meeting. I want everyone to know that. This was brought to the attention of the borough prior to this meeting today. The amendments that I requested, I never said Scott did anything illegal. I just asked that the correct verbiage be utilized.
Nicole, when did you get this?
I got this email this morning.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify.
I got this Friday at 4:30.
Well, I
There
just
was
wanna
no other time she
clarify
could
one
send it.
point. Nicole is the legal custodian. Nicole is in charge of the minutes. Nicole makes the final decision at the minutes. It's that's one of the statutory responsibilities of a municipal clerk. Scott can discuss it with Nicole, he can review it with Nicole, but in the end, Nicole makes the call, because that's her statutory responsibility. Just so that is known, where the buck stops, unfortunately, in
Which is
Nicole's
fine. I
office, yes.
corrected, I think, 3 out of the 4
You
things.
did.
One of them I felt was similar.
And
And my judgment was that, my interpretation was that the 2 statements weren't far off. And that's why I left that one change out, and I did make the other 3 changes.
Right,
because-
and you explained that to me prior to the meeting.
Yes.
The reason I brought it up is because the verbiage that was used at the meeting, and that's where I would like you, if you would, our attorney, or the borough attorney, to clarify for the public. Because what was said at the meeting, and I want to make sure I quote correctly, so there's a couple of, basically, our manager stated, here it is, and this I thought might have been perceived incorrectly by the public, so I want to make it clear, and that's the only reason I brought it up. So what the manager said was, we have to make sure we are not renting out bedrooms and bathrooms, because those are tantamount to illegal apartments. That's a big statement. When you say,
I think it's accurate.
that's what I want to find out, and that's why I'm bringing it up, and that's why I'm asking you for clarification. Because my understanding is, and I'm just going to go with the senior citizen, right? So, empty nest, the kids have left, I have a 4-bedroom house I'm paying taxes on, and I now have somebody that wants to share my house. So I'm gonna rent her one of those empty bedrooms where there's a bath close by. Is that senior citizen breaking the law?
Well, I'm not going to discuss a specific point, but I'll give you what the zoning ordinance says.
Thank you.
In single-family districts, they're limited to use by family. Now, family is not necessarily what you think of the common definition. Family is a series of relationships. It's been refined by court decisions, et cetera, as to what a family is. So,
Okay.
So it depends on the specifics. I'll give you an example where we've had it, which would be about, say a person has about a bi-level, okay? And they
Right.
have a kitchen upstairs, a kitchen downstairs.
That's
Now,
totally
well,
different.
I'm trying to give,
Yeah.
see, there's a spectrum here.
Okay.
All right?
Mhm.
That obviously, and they have separate entrances, that obviously would be a rental. Okay, that would be a 2-family home in a 1-family zone. If you get more nuance, it depends on the circumstance, it depends on how much coverage is there, and it depends on the definition of family in that particular zone. So you'd have to look, I can't give you the definition off the top of my head, but look at the zoning ordinance that defines what a family is in a single-family zone. It determines what residences are allowed, et cetera, okay?
Right.
That's it. I can only give you the extreme example. After that, it's nuanced thereafter. You say you could rent a room, are you renting it to your brother-in-law, or you're renting it to a stranger? These are issues, but they don't come up as a practical matter.
They don't?
Well, you don't hear them, we don't hear them.
No,
because
I haven't heard them,
excuse me,
so-
they're handled informally, and obviously, it's not a problem in the sense that it's widespread, it's surfaced all over, it's upsetting the nature of neighborhoods, et cetera, if it exists at all. I don't know, because I don't hear it from the zoning officer, and he consults with me if he has issues, so I don't know, but it's an interpretation of the zoning ordinance. That's what you have to look at. There's single-family zones, they have their regulations, who can inhabit, and that's what you have to read. All right,
So
but the definition of family, remember, is a very wide definition nowadays.
Okay, so that's a wide definition. So the issue that we were discussing at the meeting specifically was Airbnb. Now, people rent out a room and a bath for a night in an Airbnb. Would that be illegal?
Well, you would have to, you would define that in your Airbnb ordinance. You would define exactly what.
Which we do not have at this time,
No,
and
you
people
don't.
are doing it, and that's what I want to know. Are the people that are
Well, are they
using their
doing,
homes
see,
as
when you say
Airbnb?
people are doing it, we don't know the amount, the extent.
No, we
at all.
don't.
So it may be so minor, it's hardly an issue.
To put some
I don't know,
context around this,
really.
we were talking about Airbnbs and renting out their houses, and it's happening throughout town, and it's affecting the lake communities, and it's affecting the memberships of the lake. That's how this all started at that meeting.
Right.
And we have these problems already. This is not abnormal. There are issues of people renting out spaces. There are residential problems. We have to protect the neighborhoods that somebody all of a sudden decides they're gonna rent 4 of their rooms to 5 different people, or they wanna turn it into possibly a frat
Understandable.
house or and what I suggested and still believe is 100% accurate, our zoning laws need to make sure that we're protecting, that we are not allowing something that's like an illegal apartment. Because illegal apartments are not allowed in our zones. So we have to make
I
sure, so
understand.
if you wanna take one sentence out of an entire discussion, you could skew it any way you want, but the reality is, the discussion was centered around Airbnbs and people renting out their homes and it having effect on the neighbors around it. My suggestion is if you're gonna write an ordinance, you make sure that you carefully think about this, make sure there's ample parking, make sure the septic can handle it, make sure, those were the kind of things that we were talking about at this meeting, so, having said all that, I'm gonna have the zoning officer try and give us a report on this so that we have it
I'd
for the next meeting.
appreciate
But,
I'd like to know from the zoning officer's perspective if it's an issue.
Yes.
Because it hasn't percolated up to me, and he consults with me and with you on various zoning problems.
we do know some of the
yeah.
issues we had with court over a couple of these in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can go over that, but,
Actually, my own brother was targeted on one of these things. He was sent a letter asking if his house was being used illegally. I don't know where that came from. I tried to do an Oprah request to find out, but I was just told that somebody had said that. So this is an issue that's very relative. And I would like to know how it's enforced, how it's identified, and if it's illegal, and what the statute is. That's why I thought that terminology, and you remember that, Scott, we talked about that. I sent you an email.
I do remember it.
Yeah, and I asked you who complained about my brother.
I
My
made
brother,
a suggestion to you who has who
yeah,
it was.
my
but
brother is a disabled Vietnam vet who has moved to Cedar Crest, and he is having my sister take care of his house. And lo and behold, he gets this letter from the town stating that they think he's violating a law and renting out his house illegally, which was very upsetting to him. And he thought he was being targeted, perhaps because of me being on the council, which is crazy. But when I tried to find out who brought this complaint, I was unable to identify the person who did so, because when I asked Scott, it was just, and somebody somewhere said something.
How did the matter resolve?
The matter resolved that the zoning, Half-Tech came to the house and went through it and recognized that there was no issue.
There was no violation.
There was no violation.
Actually, there was a complaint from neighbors, and the zoning officer, Mr. Hafner, not Mr.
Hafner, I'm sorry.
Sent a letter saying, we'd like to inspect your home, because there's this concern, it's the two-family home. I didn't even know this man, I didn't know he had a brother lived in town, but evidently he went out and he said there's no problem, so no issue.
Yep.
So that was
But
a resolution of that.
yeah,
But there
but
are
this
some other
is
ones that are
something-
issues. As a matter of fact, we have one right now who, they're having them remove all kinds of things because they built an actual apartment.
Well, that's why I think it's very important that we define what is legal, what is illegal, that we understand and that our community understands. And that's why I thought the verbiage that you initially used was important to contain in the minutes,
Well,
so that we could address this,
We
so that
certainly-
everybody understands.
We certainly will have a report for you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm talking, thank you.
I just wanted to bring up one thing, a positive thing. You got a letter from John Roy.
John Bull?
The DPW probably got a letter.
Oh, they got the letter, okay. But I think it's important to read this letter because, kudos to our borough employees. It says, "I am certain that you receive a lot of complaints about things happening in your turn. Now it is my turn. Thank you for the outstanding job in keeping our town running efficiently. People like to complain about things that they do not like, but turn a blind eye to things that are done well. In my opinion, the town appears to be well run. When it snows, streets are cleaned in a timely manner. When Mother Nature decides to topple a few trees, they are cleared quickly and the roads are reopened. Years ago, when Sandy hit, our DPW department was hard at work and did an outstanding job of cleaning up the town. This is a testament to the management of our town resources. Thank you for all that you do for Ringwood." So I just thought they should read that, because it's a positive thing. Okay, attorney report.
Yes, I have one item, Madam Mayor, regarding Saddle Mountain Quarry. It's now in the process of administrative review for completion. The engineers have been going back and forth, getting more information, answering questions. I think it's time that the council consider a license hearing date. I spoke to our engineer as to his availability and the other side's availability, and the fact that notices have to be given, personal, certified mail notices, newspaper notice, et cetera, et cetera. All parties could make March 10th, if that would be amenable to you for the hearing. I think that's a Tuesday.
March 10th is a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
Anyone have a problem with?
It would be a special meeting. You're good?
No
You're good?
objection. I'm good.
I'm good.
We're good? You're good? Okay.
Is
So,
everyone else okay?
I just have to double check it, the home calendar, my calendar.
well, Should I do a resolution March 10th? If we have to correct it, we'll correct it.
Well, they have to send out notices, so
Yes,
we
okay.
got it, something
Okay,
scheduled.
all right, okay. Okay, resolved that the municipal council conduct a hearing, a license renewal hearing regarding Saddle Mountain LP on March 10, 2020 at the municipal building. At what time, folks? Do you want to start?
Same time, 7:30?
7:30? At 7, okay, at 7:30 PM. It be further resolved that the license is hereby extended to March 10, 2020. Okay, could be a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Next is general public portion, 3 minutes per person. Do I have a motion to open up public?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
I never come, and now I'm talking twice. But the idea of apartments came up, and I remember at the planning board a number of years ago when we were working on the affordable housing plan. Something was put in the plan that may even still be there about auxiliary apartments for seniors. My memory is, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I know that it was put in the affordable housing plan, and it might even still be there. I don't know if it was ever followed up, but it might be something that you want to look into.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Paula Tedesco, 95 Upper Lakeview. I'm very happy to hear about the newsletter. It's very exciting because communication is so important. But being a member of the Green Team, I'm hoping you're thinking digital and not paper, because that's a lot of paper. And I know from personal experience that these bulk mailings are hugely expensive. So
We're going to do it digitally, and anybody who requests one to be mailed, like a senior, we will mail it.
okay, great. And also, I would love to have the opportunity to write updates for Stigma Free, and I'm sure the Green Team would enjoy that as well.
I'm sure we're going to expand it as we go on.
Okay.
We'll see how the first one goes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Steve Michelin, still at 29 Whaleback Terrace in beautiful Ringwood, New Jersey. Scott, Mr. Heck, rather, mentioned the adult programs. Don't worry, Scott, this is a good thing. The adult programs at the library. We do have an amateur chess club that plays once a month. I'm trying to put in a plug. It's the first Wednesday of the month. Everyone is welcome. It's amateur chess, and then we don't use those clocks. We have, I'll say, light instruction. And if you make a bad move and your opponent doesn't mind, you can take it back. So, so that's why it's amateur chess. It's more for the enjoyment of the game. I'm sorry?
Does that include juveniles as well, kids?
Well, we have adult. There's a separate kids group, but this is generally for teens to adults. Don't want to babysit.
Yes, sir.
It's the first Wednesday of the month at the library. I would like to touch again on the 1033 program. However, this is not so good.
It's okay.
Again, this is my opinion. I guess having been in business, I know language is always important. I am reading this, and my understanding you said was that the police folks submitted this, sort of?
This is a resolution from the government agency, I believe.
Okay. I just want to point out that some of the verbiage here, it does say that the Ringwood Police Department is hereby authorized to acquire. It also does say that the department shall, not may, shall develop and implement a full training program and policy for the maintenance and use of the acquired property.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure that maybe you want to have this rewritten so you have a tighter control. Who knows, someone goes and buys an armored vehicle for town, and then we're stuck with it. And just the third thing, I'm sure you do due diligence when you purchase property. We don't want to end up with another mine property.
We do environmental stuff.
Okay, thank you.
And the due diligence is me. They don't have, the chief works for me in this capacity, and he doesn't have the authority to just enter into any of these contracts. And we are absolutely maintaining the forklift according to their standards.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I'd like to make a motion to close public portion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer? Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Okay, now it's time for mayor and members of the council. I'm gonna start this off. At the last meeting, was brought up by Councilman Bolton and seconded by Councilwoman O'Keefe about members of the different commissions and boards, and it was also brought up by Mr. Michelin tonight in public session, coming to the meetings and bringing information forward. I thought about this long and hard, and they're all volunteers that have been on these boards and commissions. And they take their job very seriously, and they do a great job. If anything, if there's issues, they come before the council for discussion and to be voted on. So there are secretaries, and those secretaries, I think, will now the minutes be on the website?
My recommendation, since we bought this new system, everybody can record their meetings, and then they can put it on the website so that everybody can hear firsthand the meeting. We're also going through, Mayor, after the last meeting, like the Environmental Commission as an example, hasn't had their minutes on in years, so we're uploading all of those. They don't get sent to Jackie, so she hasn't been uploading them. So we're now uploading all of those. We're trying to get all that stuff online. But if in fact you want to hear a meeting, I think if every department or commission or whatever the case may be records the meeting the way you folks do, we pretty successfully get it up the next day. So you can have the actual audio of the meeting, because the written word, as we hear tonight, when you're summarizing, isn't necessarily as succinct as the actual recording. So let everybody hear what's going on in all the boards. It's really, that's why we have this. So it's working with some of the other boards now. So I would think that a good policy would be, or a good first step would be, most of these boards have liaisons from council anyway.
Right.
So could we
The other ones
have,
that don't have them, have this put right online and have them recorded.
Right.
since we do have liaisons from the council, and I think Tom Conway spoke to that today, asking who the liaison is to the environmental committee, I'm sure, Linda, that all of our volunteers that were selected are top draw and wonderful. That is something I did, one of the amendments that I brought to Nicole's attention is that we all abstained from the appointment of all of these people to the boards because there was no information shared with Councilman Ferretti, Councilman Bolton, and myself about who was going to be appointed to these commissions and to these committees.
Okay, that brings me to another point, though. Some of those people that were reappointed, so they were appointed while you were on council last year.
Well, it would be helpful to have information shared prior to the meeting than to just come. How would we know that? It's not always in front of us who was there and who wasn't
on
there.
the board at the time.
Linda, I'm just saying, could we be included going forward in the process of selecting and appointing? Because it is a bipartisan council, and I think communication is key to us working together. So that is something that I would like to see going forward. If we have a liaison from the council with each committee, and we don't want to burden our volunteers, perhaps that liaison could give that quarterly report, so citizens like Mr. Michelin could have an update on what's going on in the planning board.
Perhaps you or Councilman Bolton would like to not be a part of those boards, but go to those boards and sit in the audience and come back and give us information.
I think that
if
would
you
be a
feel-
lot of onerous. We're saying that there is a liaison to every committee and commission. That's what I just heard the manager say. There isn't?
No, no. there
Oh,
isn't.
I
No, we'd have to-
thought
we'd
we
have to
had
establish them.
liaisons.
We have done that in the past.
As an example, the Board of Adjustment, the Planning Board, the Green Team, these people have council members that are.
The planning board has council members, the zoning board of adjustment would not.
Right.
The environmental commission sometimes hears and does an environmental review of applications that are in front of the zoning board of adjustment. In that case, an elected official, the council member, would have to leave the room, should not get involved in the zoning board of adjustment matter. You have to know little intricacies, but it's no big deal. But we haven't assigned liaisons.
Well, I don't think.
If we think it's a good idea, I think it's a much better, I find that much preferable to asking the volunteers who are doing the work on these various boards. Said boards have their meeting dates published in advance. It's all known when they're scheduled to meet. So any interested member of the public has availability to seeing one of these councils or committees in action.
The borough calendar hasn't been kept up to date very well in keeping that.
I'll certainly let Jackie know.
Yeah, because I've come down to go to some meetings and there was nobody here, like somebody said, it was all Doris.
You make that comment, but we're gonna correct that.
Good.
Because, if the Economic Development Commission cancels a meeting and they don't notify us, we don't know. If the Rec Commission, independent authority, cancels a meeting, we don't know. Like, if they don't notify
Again,
us.
communication.
Like, if we're not notified, we can't know that they canceled the meeting because they don't have a quorum, so.
So how can we improve the communication between the committees and the commissions so that we do know and that the public knows?
I think we've already done that. I told you before that I'm putting all the minutes from the Environmental Commission.
But if
on.
there's something's canceled, is what I'm saying.
We need to know.
Yeah.
They have to tell us if it's canceled.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's canceled because of not quorum.
You find out you don't have a quorum at 5 o'clock.
Right.
What are you gonna do? You can't conduct business. The Green Team was the exception to the rule because we kind of let you guys conduct business, but if you don't have a quorum, you can't conduct business. You can't do it. So you'll find a note on the door that says, unfortunately, we didn't get a quorum this evening. But we can't solve that. We can try to help it, but these are independent boards. We don't have any authority over them. And we certainly will talk to all the secretaries.
And they
we're
do
trying
bring
to.
up to us any issues that are,
Yes.
I think it was not so much that it was needed to function, and I think the fact that the minutes would be on the website now going forward is a great addition. It's more about highlighting the hard work and the things that are happening at the boards, where most residents wouldn't even know to go and check, but if we, provide a summary of maybe some changes that happen at the rec commission or new programs that they're doing, whatever the case may be.
Kind of like what I did with the library tonight.
Right, just the hit list, so hit list. So if we prefer to go more of the liaison approach, I'm fine with that. I just would prefer to have some sort of structure and regularity to make sure that, if nothing's happening we're talking about, that's fine, but if there's something that people should know about, it'd be good to have that channel established.
You've noticed that even my manager's report, I used to do my manager's report here. I felt like, why write a manager's report, you guys read it and then just read it out loud, doesn't make any sense. I now provide you all the backup in the books, so that you have it all. I'm trying to increase all those communications and make things better so that you guys have it in advance. And we'll continue to do that. If we find a way, we'll send a memo to all the boards, if they're gonna cancel a meeting, to let us know, but, usually there's requirements, there's notice of requirements if you're gonna cancel or schedule a meeting, and I will ask Jackie to get the calendar up to date, but although I don't think all the boards have met yet, so.
They probably haven't.
No, they haven't.
And
No,
that's
they
why
haven't.
this is a good time to discuss this.
planning board had canceled their meeting until February.
January.
Until
There was
February.
nothing.
And that was probably publicized, that
Right.
was canceled. Yeah, that's what's important, that we follow those rules. And I still think it's a good idea to hear from them quarterly or twice a year, so I would like to take a vote on it.
I don't think we can
Yeah,
make that
I-
decision
Okay.
for volunteers to make them have to come. the meeting.
Not to make them come,
If-
to recommend that, give them the space and the opportunity.
Let's see
to
how
come.
it works with the minutes being on the website, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to speak about was the green team. Are there any other, we received the appointments here. Are there any other appointments?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move to appoint several individuals to the Ringwood Sustainable Jersey Green Team. First, I'd like to start with John Spear as member of the council for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. Second, Thomas Conway as Environmental Commission member for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. Next, Sarah Lennington as Board of Health member for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. Next is Ann Seibecker as nonprofit member for a 1-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. Next is Jennifer Shu as a regular member for a 1-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. Then Janine Graham as alternate member number 1 for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. Next is Janice Pravid as alternate number 2 member for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. And after hearing her speak tonight, I was wondering if maybe special consideration could be made to Ms. Schwab, who she was here earlier tonight. I think it's important for some young people to get involved in some of these committees and the political process.
Okay. Is there any other?
So I think, if I was following through the list right, I think we're then, with the exception of Michaela Schwab, and youth is great, I think we wind up being too shy on regular voting members, 5 and 7. If only Jennifer is proposed as a general citizen at large.
Did the final ordinance come out with 2 other classified members of the Green Team? Did we have a Economic Development Commission member and a Ringwood Mines / landfill area member?
It was
I think that's what the final ordinance was. That was in there.
It was a pool, and we had to check X boxes of it. So we weren't gonna necessarily have somebody from every category, but if there were
I don't know about these categories.
5, we had to have 3.
Counselor, I think we ought to pull the ordinance now. I just want to run down these appointments and the time, because you know, there's 2 blocks of appointments, 2 years and 1 year, and then there are specific appointments, as Deputy Mayor said. I just want to make sure we're getting all of them correct. Now, for instance, some of the appointments we have to understand go as long as you're a member of that particular committee or board. I'm not saying any of these, that any of the appointments have been misstated. I just want to confirm them, because I didn't know we were going to do those this evening.
No, it wasn't on the agenda. I didn't know either.
Nicole, can you get a copy of that, or could we trouble you to get a copy of the ordinance? The Green Team ordinance?
This is what I had originally. I just wrote the names on there, but I don't know if they're fitting the
I
right
just don't
category.
remember them offhand. Let's see.
This was tonight.
That was handed in tonight. You want the other one?
Well, we could move them, and I could do research if we have to make some tweaks. Maybe could do it at the next meeting, because I'm not sure.
Never stopped us before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, so true. I was like trying
Yeah,
to pull out
because,
fast.
as I said, I'm not sure which blocks these people fit in, and some of the terms, either, I'm not disputing that these aren't correct. I would just like to confirm it, that's all. So if you want to, you can go ahead, and then I'll just render an opinion, and we'll see if they're all on target.
Was Schwab for the alternate member 3?
Well, that's what I have on this sheet, but I don't know what you have.
Is that, well, we just add that.
I don't know which position was
that one's
open.
still
I just
open.
figured that
There's,
should be
Member
part of
number
this.
3.
There's three alternates. I think only Ms. Schwab is the only one considered, correct? Am I right?
No, there was 2 other ones. There's
There are 2
alternate 1 was,
I
Janine
have the
Graham.
first position being Spear for a council member. I have Conway being the Environmental Commissioner. I have Sarah Lennington being from the Board of Health, Economic Development open, Ringwood, Upper Ringwood resident open. Ann Seebecker is the nonprofit. Jennifer Shue is a regular member. Janine Graham is alternate number 1. Janice is it Praveed? Praveed is alternate number 2, and Ms. Schwab is alternate number 3. That's what I only went down the list as you said them. I don't know if that's how you had it.
I think Tom Conway brought to our attention that it was very important that Joanne Atlas remain with the Green Team. Joanne was very instrumental in getting us a $2,000 grant and helping to launch the Green Team the first time it was done, and the second time. She's a valuable member of the Green Team. I think she should be a voting member. And I was very dismayed to see Joanne Atlas leave the Environmental Commission, and also John Berry. Again, this has been a lifelong thing for both of them, protecting the environment, and her leadership is very valuable to the Green Team, and I think it's important that we keep her there. So I just want that to be said. I think it would be a huge mistake for us to take her off the Green Team because her leadership is very important.
Well, who would you suggest we take off?
Well, since we don't need a liaison to everything, maybe we could take John off and put Joanne there.
Take John.
John's a member of the council.
Well,
Council
if you
member
don't-
has to be
Oh,
on.
you need him there,
Member has to
okay.
be on.
Well, maybe we could take Janice Pivid and make her an alternate and put Joanne on as a voting.
Janice is as an alternate number 2.
I don't think this list that was provided today tracks with the final ordinance as it was approved in November.
But I didn't even know we were gonna discuss this today.
Well, this was brought up
Well,
off
it was
the,
brought
this was
up
brought
at
from the
the
floor,
last-
so that's why
Oh,
I see
but
it.
it seemed that,
Possibly address this. The list that I provided today reflected Tom Conway as the as chairman of the Environmental Commission. So I updated that.
Yes.
And then there was so
And
today.
you had provided this months ago.
I
You-
did,
you- yes.
but I simply updated it. In fact,
Understood.
there was one that dated November 14th, which was absolutely consistent with the ordinance. And I simply updated that with Tom Conway today. And everything else stayed the same. So the November 14th was consistent with the ordinance that was passed. And now that November 14th was updated today. So you should be going with the one that I handed out today. Joanne said she'd be happy to be just an honorary member.
Yeah, I don't really care if I'm a voting member, as long as I can speak.
okay.
But we have Joanne to be, the ordinance doesn't provide for honorary member. But you can
But you could
speak in
just
the
be one.
audience.
But you could,
But I don't know if anybody can keep you from
That's all
speaking.
I really,
Okay, as long as you stay involved, I think that's important.
I do and have done a great deal of work in preparation and history for the Green Team. So I think I'm valuable to be there. As for being a voting member, I don't care.
Okay.
So it appears most of the names are similar to what Councilmember suggested.
right.
So thankfully, I was able to pull up the ordinance on the borough site.
Yay.
So jumping right to the membership in terms of office, the Green Team shall consist of 7 regular members appointed by the municipal council, all of whom shall be residents of the borough, provided, however, the regular membership shall consist of at least 4 of the following persons: 1 member from the council, 1 member from the Ringwood Environmental Commission, 1 member from the Board of Health, 1 member from the Economic Development Commission, 1 member who resides in the area designated by the United States Environmental Agency as the Ringwood Mines landfill area, and 1 member from a nonprofit entity situated in the borough of Ringwood.
So we need 4 of that,
which is-
4 of
Four
that
of that
set,
list.
which we have.
Which
But
is
you
what
have.
this is.
Which we have.
Okay, good.
And so then the rest of the 3 can be at large as long as they are Ringwood residents.
And then there were 3 alternates.
Uh,
So 7 voting
yes.
members, 3 alternates. If then somebody doesn't
Correct.
show, one of the alternates can then become a voting member. So that's why we had 7 voting members and 3 alternates.
Correct.
I don't have a problem with Joanne being there. I think Joanne's a wealth of information and
Absolutely.
for years of service on environmental. And going back to John Berry, he wrote a letter of resignation.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, John resigned, I knew that.
I understand. I just wanted to thank them for their service and the many years of fighting for the environment in Ringwood.
Thank you.
So Mayor, are you suggesting, I'm trying to help us along here. The names are very similar.
Right, I think,
As absent the council member, you have Tom Conway, Sarah Lennington, Ann Seebecker, Janine Graham, Jennifer Shue, Janice Privetti, Aaron Schwab, Annalisa, and Janet O'Brien. Those are the names that are on here. You could appoint those to their respective areas as long as they fit the requirements. Am I right, Mr. Clement?
Yes, that's what we have to double check, because if we go down the list again, number 1 would be Deputy Mayor, that's correct, okay? All right. Number 2 would be Mr. Conway.
right,
3 is Miss
Lennington.
Miss Lennington.
Yeah.
4 is Miss Sybecker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5 would be Miss Graham, as is, voting member. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. 6 would be Miss Shue, voting member.
right.
7 would be Miss Paved, voting member. I have here as an alternate, but I'm not sure if that was the
Well, I think
intention. When you made your motion, was that,
She's an
That's what I originally said.
citizen
Okay.
at large.
well, here it says, but the
Oh.
motion was alternate. In fact, Miss Graham, I think, was alternate, if I'm correct.
Graham, I had as
Yes,
alternate 1.
alternate 1.
Yeah, alternate 1. So if those folks, if those 2 ladies are alternates 1 and 2, then citizen at large slots open up.
So my counter amendment or motion, just knowing that these were active members of the Green Team, and so there's been communication about who takes what slot, and are you willing to continue to serve, et cetera, would be to move this list as stands, with all of the members printed, and I would also put forth Kathy for the council representative, since obviously she's been heavily involved in getting it up and running and every step of the way.
Well-
So it just seems like the
Well, there is a motion.
Motion on.
My
Okay.
motion's still on.
All right. Do you want to restate your motion at all, Councilman?
You're saying is making the alternate number 1 that I had listed as Janine Graham as a regular voting member?
Is that what you're asking then?
And
Okay. So
can-
that would
can we
be-
do that then?
Yes, well, you made the motion. You can revise your motion. So Ms. Graham, number 5 is a regular voting member.
Yes, if that's what we
Okay?
need to make this work, yes.
Okay, number 6 is a regular voting member. Number 7, would that person be a regular voting member?
Number
As-
7, do you have Janice Praveen?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you recommend that Mr. Deputy Mayor Spear is position number 1?
Yes.
Does that continue?
Yes.
So we have the 7. Now we go to the alternates. Ms. Schwab is number 1?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Carreras is 2?
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
correct? And Ms. O'Brien is 3?
Yes, as an
Okay.
alternate.
So this list as is, except for number 1. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then Joanne is honorary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the motion.
That is the motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second. Can I just get clarification on who 2 and 3 was? I'm sorry. I
Sure.
have
I think
Schwab
it's
as
following-
alternate 1.
It's following their
Oh,
list. with the
I'm
exception
following
of that
this. So 2 is Tom Conway. No, down here for alternate.
one. No, it
Oh, for
follows that
alternate,
list.
it's Aaron, Annalise, and O'Brien.
Correct.
So Schwab, Karras, and O'Brien. Those are the alternates.
So that list remains the same with the exception of the first slot.
Sweet. Okay.
I think that's what I read, right?
Roll call.
Roll call? Okay. Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
No.
Did you say,
No.
okay. Peretti?
No.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Abstain.
That's the membership. Okay.
All right, I have just a few more things that I wanted to speak on. The ambulance corps and auxiliary had their installation dinner at Portobello's on January 10th. And the installation of officers were Mark Zupnik as captain, first lieutenant was Jack Fehrenbach, Kip Kretschmann as second lieutenant, Ben Mealy as second lieutenant, Karen Phillips, second lieutenant, Dominic Ingraffia as service secretary, Lee Anderson as recording secretary, and Laura Ingraffia as corresponding secretary, and Laura Haftek as correspondence secretary, and Laura Ingraffia as treasurer. There was also service awards. We have a lot of volunteers in our town that do an excellent job, and that's why Ringwood is one of the best places where we have wonderful people that serve on different committees and corps and fire departments. Dominic and Laura Ingraffia have 45 years of service. Rick Mingram has 40 years of service. Matt Brandt has 5 years, and Brett Sally has 5 years. The installation of officers for the ambulance auxiliary is Ellen Silvestro as president, Debbie Klaus vice president, recording secretary Melissa Carney, April Montanarano is corresponding secretary, Sally Crow is treasurer, she's been forever, and I'm the parliamentarian. Service awards, Linda Schaefer 30 years, Melissa Carney 15 years, Pat Cicchini 10, Ellen Silvestro 5, Diane Swanson 5, and Elizabeth Carfolite had 5 years. It was a great evening. The Erskine Lake Firehouse, Friday, January 31st, is having their installation dinner at the Crown Plaza. They were supposed to have it last Saturday, but because of the snow, it was canceled. And Christelle Sasso, I believe, is the chief. I just have a few others. The library is having this Saturday, January 25th at 11 a.m., Club Sippy Cup. It's a dance event for those under 6 years of age, and it will be held with the help of Jessica and Michael Ehrenhoff. It's a popular event with about 100 little ones showing up to dance and party. So if anyone wants, they can go and see what it's about, or they could make some. They're looking for cupcakes, banana bread, cookies would be good. I guess try to stay away from anything with nuts because of allergies. Also, the Special Olympics Winter Games send-off for Lakeland, Leah, is it Leah? Is having Saturday, February 1st at 10 a.m. at the Lakeland Regional High School cafeteria. Refreshments will be provided. Please come out and cheer on our Lakeland area Special Olympic athletes as they prepare to compete in the New Jersey 2020 Special Olympics Winter Games. So they're also having something on Monday, February 3rd, and Tuesday the 4th at Mountain Creek. But I think it would be nice if anyone wants to go out to that on Saturday, February 1st at 10 a.m. And St. Catherine's Parish is having their fish fry or pasta on Ash Wednesday, which is February 26th. The tickets are $15 a person. The pasta is $10 a person. For tickets, please call 973-568-1174. And lastly, the last thing I have, in the paper, the trends this week, was Governor Murphy vetoes Greenwood Lake funding. And someone brought up tonight about, grants and things and all that we get, and about our water quality. Well, I think it's a shame that the governor vetoed this when there's a lot of businesses on the lake, a lot of restaurants up there, and a lot of people that make their living by these businesses. And and since we're in the core of the preservation area, I think it's really a shame that he does not consider giving funding to Greenwood Lake. And who knows, what he doesn't give to us up here that we need.
Did we apply
So-
for anything?
Excuse me?
Did we apply for anything? I know that the state has allocated, Governor
Since
Murphy has
This is my
allocated.
first meeting, I don't
Oh,
know, I'd have to
okay.
find out.
Because
what
there
we
is a
applied
big
for.
state allocation for lakes and the haves, so that people can apply for
Okay,
money.
but they did apply.
They did
for
apply. I'm
funding
asking,
and
have
turned
we
down.
applied?
So,
Have
I
we
didn't apply for
sought-
Greenwood Lake, no.
No, not for Greenwood Lake. Have we sought funding from this program that they put in place? I think there's millions of dollars available
Well, we'll
for
have to see if
funding
we
for
can get
HIPAA.
some of that
Oh,
and see
good,
if we-
good. I think we should look
We'd like
into
to
it.
do that.
Great.
Yes.
Like to see that.
Did they put something in place, or did he just mention it in like a state address or something?
I
Was
know that it was in the paper, I've read about it, so, if it's being vetoed, something must be coming up to the top, so I'm just wondering if we have stayed on top of it, and
Well-
if we are looking into it.
It's two separate things. So
look
that
into
was
it.
an issue because, in reading the article, New York State hadn't matched the funds.
Oh,
and
is
this
that what it
not
was?
Also, it wasn't an earmarked allocation. It was gonna be about, diverting funds that were earmarked for something else in order to do that as opposed to being part of the core grant program. It was, I think, the December meeting where we got the emails provided, under the manager's report about the, algae bloom
Yes.
grants. So it's new. The deadlines are coming in hot and heavy and fast.
Right.
Like February, but that is new, specifically aimed at targeting, and it included some funds for implementation, but targeting, the harmful algae blooms that lakes have been experiencing. That was $50
Right.
million.
So in order to take advantage of that, since the deadlines you said are in February?
One was January, one is February.
I believe I
So-
reported that we talked to our
Yeah.
our consultants, and they suggested that this was not the best grant for us, that there were other opportunities. You might not have been at that meeting.
I don't think I was, but, why is this not a good venue for us to, could you share that?
I would love to be able to talk, Kristen from Princeton Hydro is the one who suggested that
I
this is
see.
not. I sent it to him. He's working on I think I shared with you the email
Yeah.
at that meeting that he suggested why. I mean, this was 2 meetings ago.
Mhm.
I can go back and look, but he suggested that was not the best venue. Was that for was that for water quality? That grant for Greenwood Lake?
I wanna say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Um,
Greenwood Lake drains into the reservoir.
Yeah.
Greenwood Lake is the main producing water for Monksville Reservoir, which drains in the reservoir, so
Thought that was
that's
important.
somewhat ironic.
That article, if you read it, that article is an opinion piece,
Oh.
where a person is criticizing Governor Murphy for not providing the $500,000 in funding, and what the person goes back is to Congressman Rowe from many, many years ago, who was a major advocate of environmental matters. What the person is emphasizing, that maybe if Mr. Rowe were still in office, that grant would have gone through. I didn't read anything in that, reading it quickly, I didn't see anything about that it was vetoed because of New York State's inaction. I just didn't see it.
Well, it's an opinion piece, not a fact.
No, but I mean, I didn't see anything in there about New York State's so-called alleged reaction, and that was the reason for it. All he says was that the governor vetoed it, $500,000.
I might have read the article that the opinion piece was a reaction to, but that was just.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, I'm finished. Councilman Bolton.
So to go to the very mundane, Copsaw Plaza, the potholes, that might be an understatement to describe them, were filled in really, really well. Not just like the most severe one, but the uneven pavement was addressed in a couple of different spots, and the gang did a great job of fixing that, and they had probably half the cones in the supply room out to reroute traffic all around. So greatly appreciate that, and I know that everybody who travels through that area appreciates it. With the Skyline Lakes area and Alta Vista Drive, particularly in inclement weather, when we have snow, whether it's a lot or a dusting, that as you're heading towards the lake, there's the T intersection, but with no traffic signage.
I spoke to the individual today. Obviously, you pay attention to Facebook and Ringwood Moms, and there is, the police do. The problem is, this is by your neighborhood, that street goes
I know
all the
it
way
will.
through. That's not, the street ends there at the hill. You can't put a stop sign on the hill, that would be a bad idea. I asked the chief to look at it, I asked the police to look at it, but the street that you're referring to where we have to salt, we have to spend a lot of time there because it's an S-turn on a hill with a reverse curve, it doesn't work well. He's gonna look at it and determine whether there should be a stop sign or some type of traffic control. Well, my guess is, because the street starts at the cul-de-sac and goes all the way to Alta Vista, they're not gonna put a stop sign in the middle of the street. But that's not my call, that's the chief's.
If they could, or signage about
When there's a
slow,
problem there,
curve.
nothing but Perry's mailbox is gonna stop you.
Yes.
No stop sign is gonna stop you. All right, Alta Vista is a rough stretch of road. Even some of the things you think are flatter are dangerous.
Listen, I
I
definitely
got his
understand
mailbox
that.
in 2016, I think, or 2017.
I understand.
And after driving on that road in all weather conditions for 15 years prior, I still could not avoid it.
Listen, there are many days where I say a prayer that I just don't end up in the lake because I have a stop sign at the bottom of
Yeah,
Glen and it's
like that helps,
as all
right?
get out, and I break several houses up and just get ready to lean on my horn and pray for the best. But it gets me to slow down. And so even if somebody's still gonna slide into his mailbox, if we're just prompting them that, hey, you should be slowing down and stopping here and taking the turn carefully, if he can replace his mailbox a few fewer times, then that's a good thing.
There's just some engineering things that have to happen and some police department things that happen. And I asked him today because I spoke to Jim on the phone.
And that's it.
Thank you. Councilman McCracken.
Just one quick item. It was brought to my attention that Passaic County has purchased some equipment that makes it possible to actually recycle styrofoam. And as you can imagine, styrofoam is a pretty nasty product, and a lot of it ends up in landfills and whatnot. And if we find a way to keep it, more of this from landing in the landfills, it'd be a lot better for us. So since we have at least one member of the Green Team here, maybe that's something that the Green Team can look into, how this could actually benefit the residents of Ringwood.
I think the Glen Rock Green Team is doing recycling of styrofoam. So it's probably something we could reach out to them and see how they structured it and get it for it. I think it's an excellent idea.
Absolutely.
There's only a couple of places that take styrofoam away, so I'll reach out to the county and see what they have.
That'd be great. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Mattioli.
Yeah. I would just like to take a moment to congratulate the Ringwood Rattlers on their amazing season. Also to congratulate Sean, Jim, and Walt for their service to our community. I remember being a little girl growing up in town and hearing, Mayor Davison's name all the time, and to have then been able to serve with him when I was appointed to that vacant seat was an amazing honor. So that was, it's really sweet to see him up there tonight. Also, I just wanted to see if we could potentially look at the lighting at the Park and Ride. I've had a couple of residents reach out to me that they are concerned about the lighting there, that they're getting off the bus. Obviously, the sun is down, soon, and so they're saying potentially they can't see anything that could pop out around them, and are just a little concerned.
We just changed all those lights to LED.
Okay.
They don't travel as far as the other ones, unfortunately.
Okay, maybe that's what they're noticing.
I included that in the grant. I looked at them anyway, even though we just replaced them.
Okay.
And we're also gonna be cutting down a lot of the trees because one of the insurance audits came through that there's a lot of places that people could hide, and so we're gonna be clearing some of those grounds out. Same thing with the library.
That was a concern, yeah.
We just lowered some of the bushes at the end of the library because they were too high, and when you're walking out at night, you couldn't see who was sitting maybe at the bench. And so we're taking some of those things into consideration.
Okay.
But yeah, the other downside is the library is really bright now because we replaced all of theirs with LED. So now you see the stark difference.
See the difference. I drove by, I wanted to see what they were talking about, so I made sure, I don't take a bus, obviously, for my commute, but I wanted to see what they were up against. So when I drove by, you're right, there was like a stark difference between.
Did they notice all the new glass at the Park and Ride?
They didn't, I could ask.
Makes a big difference in the win.
Yes, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Spear.
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Councilman Fleury.
Sure. Just last congratulations to that football team who won their Super Bowl for Morris County League. Cool. Way to represent our town. We like being in first place. Happy to serve on the Finance Committee. Was proud to do that for the last 2 years. Glad to do it again. Last year I was not 2 years. Sorry. Last but not least, February 10th, 7 p.m. They have the public hearing. That's the EPA is doing that, right? Is that going to be in this room? We're at Ryerson School, February 10th, 7 p.m. If you're interested in hearing what the recommended action is, they're having a hearing. I'm sure you're going to have a chance to make comments too. I wish everybody is safe next month
What time
in the
is
cold
that?
weather.
On
7
Friday?
p.m., February 10th. Ryerson.
It's an important meeting.
That's all I have. Be safe in the snow and ice. Hopefully we don't have too much.
Rob, I've requested the plan in advance so that I can get it to all of you folks. I don't have it yet, but I requested it.
All right, thank you.
Councilwoman O'Keefe.
Sure, I just wanted to, as I was saying previously, commend the Green Team for their work. Making municipal buildings more energy efficient saves our taxpayers money, while also contributing to solutions for the most pressing environmental sustainability issues. The action that you took, and Scott, you were very helpful in getting letters out to all the schools and the nonprofits and asking them to participate in it. I'm so glad that the Board of Education did choose to participate in it. You can go to their website, you can see that all 4 of the schools have taken advantage of this. And just one example is Ryerson. They gave them 2 different scenario packages that they could use. The first one is an installation cost of $124,000. They would receive a rebate and an incentive of $30,000 to do this work. That would give the school an annual cost savings of $21,000. It would pay for itself in 4 years, and the greenhouse gas emission savings would be 72 tons. So this is huge. It's wonderful that the Board of Ed moved forward with it. I know that Scott's going to give us an update on the municipality. I did look on the sustainability. I know one of your goals for the Green Team is to make silver this year. So there's a lot of points for the completion of local energy audits. I think this might put you right over the top to make silver this year. I also know that the municipality received a plaque from the town, for the town, saying that we were designated bronze. I asked at the last meeting if it could be displayed somewhere. Have you located it?
Jackie has it.
Oh, Jackie has it. Okay, so it would be great. I know Ryan and I went down to the municipal event in Atlantic City, and we're like, well, where's our plaque? And they said it was here. So it'd be great if we could display it for everybody to see. And I also wanted to ask about the wonderful portrait that we were given by the freeholders for our centennial celebration. I've mentioned it a couple of times. We were given a beautiful portrait of, I think it was Ringwood Manor. It was right here, once upon a time, at the meeting that it was given to us. And I haven't seen it since. I've been asking where it is. I think it would be beautiful on that wall. But if this isn't the right location, maybe it could be displayed at the library. It was a gift, and it was something that I think we should display with pride. I hope that we can find it and put it in a place of honor for all of our citizens to enjoy. I also want to report in 2017, this council recommended that we support the SALT deduction that Mickey Sherrill was promoting in Congress. I want you to all know it passed. That's good news. It's now sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk with about 400 other things that were passed. But I hear that Trump is coming to Wildwood, New Jersey, so if anyone's going, maybe you could whisper in his ear that we could really appreciate having that deduction restored. It was here for 100 years, and it makes homes more affordable in New Jersey, and it would help so many families. And there is another resolution. I will send it to you. I won't ask for a motion today, but what they're doing is the New Jersey State League of Municipalities has a resolution number 2019-01, where they are showing that scientific evidence is increasingly clear that human activities are largely responsible for accelerating the changes of the global climate. And they're asking that the municipalities be given the power to go after climate criminals to get reimbursement to help with bearing the burden of environmental public health, safety impacts associated with climate change, Environmental Protection Agency, all the climate-driven hazards. We've been dealing with them. I know, Scott, you have, with all the different storms that bring us so much water and problems. So it's something we should look into supporting. And I will send it to Nicole so she can distribute it, and maybe we can support it at the next council meeting. And again, the Rattlers, congratulations. Congratulations to the Green Team. I can't wait to see what you achieve next year. I'll be watching, and I hope Councilman Spear lends his leadership to help you achieve your goal of silver this year. That's it. Thank you.
I have an executive session, Mayor.
You do so? Oh, what is that on?
Contract discussion with chief of police.
Oh, the chief of police
Yeah,
contract?
I talked about it
Yes,
today.
yes, I'm sorry, yeah. Resolve that the municipal council enter the executive session to discuss a contract, namely contract with chief of police, minutes to be maintained, available for public inspection in accordance with the Open Public Records Act. The public is advised that when the municipal council returns from the executive session, it may take formal action on any matter discussed therein or formal action on any other matter.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty-Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes. So I paused. I meant to say this too, and I forgot.
Not to worry.
I'm glad I've been able to. No, not really.
Good seeing you again.
Hold on.
Huh?
Enough of this stuff.